We are live. Pat, welcome. As fans, we're going live today because, it's been about a month since we've been on and just felt we wanted to go live today and let everybody remember our lovely faces. You know what I mean? It's been a minute.
Well, one lovely face.
You have I told you, you have a lovely face on your laptop today.
I was talking about me. You thought I was talking about you?
See, here we go. Starting off the show proper, people. Oh,
Jeez. You'd think
sarcasm in the jokes.
you'd think somebody would know how I'm going to respond to that after all these years.
And yes, people, I am eating pancakes and hash browns, and I got my cup of coffee right here because I'm still going at it. It is 10:30 in the morning. Sunday. It is July 12th. Dude, it's July 12th. Like summer's like half over. Or maybe
Except it's not.
past the halfway point.
Except it's not because summer again is still June 20th, 21st, whatever day it falls on. So we're technically barely into summer
You know,
now. As you ju- if you
I
judge it
hate
by
that
the
shit. I hate those things.
if you judge it by the temperature, yeah,
And the true months of summer, yes. I never
right.
understood that. June 21st is the start of summer. Bullshit. Like hell it is.
Well, yeah, it's also very funny because one of the things I loved when I got into my teenage years and I started becoming a lot more like, movie obsessed and everything. So this was probably like 1996, 1997 when I really started to fully get into that.
Yes.
Um, one of the things I loved was Entertainment Weekly magazine back in the day with when they always had their their big like movie preview issues for whatever the season was, whether it was summer, fall, holiday, what have you. And the summer movie preview issue, of course, was always such a big deal because the summer movie season was traditionally the biggest movie season in terms of like box office.
Yep.
It's evolved somewhat past that in the years since. But um anyway, the whole point is like the summer movie season traditionally would always begin the first weekend of May, when you're still really very much in spring, but like that because like, a lot of people I think regard Memorial Day as like kind of like the unofficial start of summer. And again, Memorial Day is
Legally
still like
speaking,
3 or 4 weeks before the actual start of summer. And what is Ace trying to do? Trying to make sure he's not trying to do anything bad. Um, so yeah, it's like the seasons are different depending upon how you're using your evaluation tool. Like if you're going by the calendar, it's one thing. If you're going by like the temperature outside, it's another. If
yeah.
you're going by like what movies are playing at the box office or in the theater, then it's a completely different story. And then what's really funny too, I remember the way that I think I knew once and for all that like the traditional summer movie cycle was broken was either Infinity War or Endgame, because one or both of those came out uh the last week in April, because I think it was like April 29th or April 30th. So it was like they didn't want to wait until like May 6th or 7th. But that was the one that kind of told me, oh, okay, so like, now this is coming at the end of April. So it's like now like the summer movie season as it used to be defined truly has no meaning.
No, understood. Oh, please. Oh, Infinity War, April 27th, 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So I think they did the same. Uh-oh. Oh no. What are you doing? You can jump
Also,
up if you want. There you go. Oh, there he is.
oh,
There
there
he is.
he's like, all right, let me get you're on. You're on live. He knew you were live. He's like, let me get in this
Yep.
shot. I need
Ace,
to
say
get
hi.
I need to get puppy famous.
Oh, you making your little whines.
He's like, puppy famous right here. Check me out.
Yeah.
And
So
so Infinity Endgame also was in April. It was,
okay, so yeah, so it was both. Okay.
yep, April 26th, the following year of 2019. Yep.
Yeah. So they broke the
They ruined it.
uh yeah.
They ruined it. God damn it.
Yeah. So so everybody just understands here real quick. So, I'm living with my sister and brother-in-law and have been since the end of last August. So Jesus, it's almost been a full year. And my sister's longtime wheat and terrier Daisy passed away back in January. She was, close to 17 years old.
It's long life
Um,
for a dog.
yep, yep. Hello. So my sister's been, understandably depressed without having her dog, who she's had for so long and through so many trials and tribulations. So a couple of weeks ago, she found this shelter that's over outside of Easton, and she found these dogs who were bonded. They're a bonded pair, brother and sister. They're supposedly Bichon Poodle mixes. So
Hmm.
she adopted both of them because again they're a bonded pair, so they weren't like going to split them up.
She went from
They're
one to
yeah, they're eight. They're approaching their ninth birthdays. So they're a little older, but they're a sweet little pair. So behind me, as you can see here, this is Ace. He's the male. Ace has a pretty pronounced underbite. Um, I like to call him underbite. Yeah. Ace, want to say hi? Or are you
He's like,
settled
no,
now? No, you're all settled down now? Okay. So my
like, bro, you
sister and
see me right
brother-in-law
now?
are, yeah, my sister and brother-in-law are out at church right now, and they get very upset when my sister leaves. They have bonded to her very, very quickly. They're getting there
Which is
with
good.
me and my brother. Yeah, they're getting there with me and my brother-in-law, but they're very much my sister's dogs and everything. So they like to jump up on the couch here because I'm down in the living room to keep them company. Um, so again, so here's Ace. There he is. What? 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 Um, so that's Ace. And then over here, let's see if I can get the camera on her properly. Can you see her?
Oh, there's the sister
That's
just hanging
Diamond.
out.
Yeah. That's Diamond. She's the sister. She's the female. So what I've learned about them in the couple weeks that we've had them here in the house now, um, they don't unfortunately show much interest in toys. They might just be already too old for that. I also have a feeling that they maybe didn't do a lot of toy playing.
They might
Just
not
just a
have, so not really
yeah,
used
just
to it.
just a feeling I get. They very much love their TREATs and WALKs.
Oh, okay, of course.
Uh, they uh, they both have a fun little quirk of they are beggars, but they are silent beggars.
Oh,
They will just kind of park themselves in front of you and just kind of look at you, but they won't bark at you as you're eating your own food. Now, don't leave food around them. They will go after them. And as my sister also found out, you can't leave even like a napkin or paper towel that had food on it where they could get it because they will go at. That may have also been because they were left alone at the time when they did that, but still, it's like if it had like a food remnant on it, they will go for that food.
yeah,
Um, so yeah,
yeah,
Ace, unfortunately, like I said, he has the separation anxiety, I think a little worse than his sister does.
gotcha.
He also has a few issues with marking. He's gone in the house a couple times, which it could be again because of the separation anxiety or just generally marking. Because when they go outside, it's funny. One of them will pee, then the other one will come pee on top of it. Doesn't matter which. I've seen it go both ways in that sense.
Like, no,
Um,
I want that spot, damn it.
yeah. Well, the problem is that sometimes the one will be going and the other one will be coming up already, as if to say, "All right, my turn." It's like, no, 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 wait, I'm finished, and then you freaking go. It's like don't start peeing on each other. God damn it, you guys have white fur hair. It's like that's not going to look good. We don't want to give you baths if we don't have to. So
Are their names did your sister rename both of them, or was those the names that they had when she adopted them?
those are the names that they had. My sister thinks that the person who owned them previously might have had like a fondness for cards or something like because Ace, Diamond. So
Probably. They're a gambler of
yeah,
some sort.
yeah. Apparently their previous owner like saw like the picture of us like the day we got to pick them up from the shelter on the shelter's like Facebook page and like commented on it. So I'm like, oh, that's nope, nope, ow, 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 ow.
Just using you as a stepping stone. That's all. My dog
Yeah,
does that to me all the time.
yep. Okay, so now we're gonna see your butt on the camera.
Yep. He's like, hey, get my OnlyFans booty, my OnlyFans dog set up right now. Booty
Well,
shot.
everybody, I'm sorry to say, but this is the end. So yeah, so anyway, I think it was a little weird that the previous owner reached out. I mean, because she had to give them up, I think, for like supposedly, this is what my sister's telling me. Like, she was having like mental health issues, and which crossed over into financial issues. So
Mm,
I can't imagine what it'd be like to have to give up a pet for financial issues. That would probably rip my heart out. Um, because apparently they had another younger brother and a younger sister, who that owner also had to give up, and she was adopted previously. She wasn't
okay.
bonded to these two in that sense, so they were willing to split them up and everything. So it's like, yeah, I think if I was like a previous owner who had to give up pets like that, I would definitely want to know they were in a good home and everything. But I also don't think I would really want to know anything else then, because it's like I can't have them anymore. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Yeah. Yeah. I understand what you mean.
you get possessive about possessions, obviously. I mean, it's the same word. Um, but especially I think when they're other living beings and everything. And so oh, hi there. Diamond's kind of rolling over on her back and showing her belly, so I'm gonna give her belly
Oh,
scratches here.
it's Pat. Hey, you want some love from me? You gotta rub this belly.
Yeah.
You got to
You
rub the
guys
belly.
you guys are silly.
Yeah, so my speaking of giving up dogs, unfortunately, my cousin had to give up her dog. Her dog was kind of young, kind of still puppy. I think maybe like 2 years old, maybe. I'm trying to remember. But with that being said, um, she gave up the dog because, her husband had a stroke.
Oh,
He's only in his mid 50s too, by the way.
no,
So,
geez.
I mean, he's been recovering well. He's doing well. But the issue is that, you know, even through recovery, him walking around the house, trying to move around, he needs to use a cane, to move, and is not as nimble and agile because of the situation. So there's been multiple times where the dog's been so excited to see him, he's almost knocked him down, fallen over him, and
Mm,
stuff like that. So it was very, very, because she's always been a dog person. Um, so because she's always had her dogs until they've passed away and whatnot. So this was the first time she's actually had to give up a dog because of a situation like this. So she's very not one she want to keep talking about, but understand. So it's just a tough situation. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do, but at the same point, it's not the dog's fault. It's the dog doesn't know like what's really going on. He's just happy to see his dog owner. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Like
it's
years ago, when we had our first Yorkie Indy, we got a second Yorkie who was named Bella, who was a rescue from a puppy mill. My mother got her from somebody that she worked with, like at the same company. And it's like they had to give her up because they were about to have a child, and I think there was some reason that they couldn't have both the dog and the baby at the same time. Bella, like I said, she had been abused for years in a puppy mill. She was kind of gaunt, even for a Yorkie. Like, when you picked her up, you could always kind of like feel her rib cage and everything because she'd been, malnourished and stuff. She
yeah.
was missing most of her teeth.
Oh,
She was very, very skittish, especially around males, because presumably, again, that's what she had been abused by and everything. We had her for, I think it was about 5 years until she passed away. We
gotcha.
weren't ever 100% sure of how old she was. I think she might have been like 14 or 15 though when she passed away, which, again, considering she'd been abused for several years, is kind of amazing that she was able to live that long. But
Yeah.
like occasionally, like I guess my mother's coworker would ask, oh yeah, how's Bella doing? And my mother was, oh yeah, she's good and everything. And then I think she like left the company and moved. And I think like the last thing that she said to my mother when they were saying her goodbyes was like, just take care of Bella. So we definitely did. Bella was a sweetheart. She one of the biggest issues I always had with her when I was watching, well, first when it was Indy and Bella, and then after Indy died, and then we got our dog Sherlock. So with Sherlock and Bella, there would be a lot of times when like parents would go on like weekend trips, especially when my younger sister was still at Penn State. They went to plenty of Penn State games, and Bella just never wanted to stay in my room. There's just something always about my room, that she would never settle. She
Folks,
would
it was
never
the
like sit.
smelly clothes in his room. That was the case.
I mean, it could have been. I mean, I won't discount that possibility. So a lot of times I'd have to go like, stay in my parents' room, or at night when they were gone like that because she felt safe in my parents' room. So, um, you know, because it's like I couldn't trust her to be on the floor
Mm.
in my room because one is like I couldn't trust that she wouldn't go, and then two, she would just keep scratching at the door. It's like you can't really sleep with a dog constantly scratching at your door. So
No, no.
especially when trying to get out. So,
She just wants to
yeah,
get to the her place that she's comfortable with.
exactly.
Probably the
So.
socks, your stinky underwear, something or other, your stinky sneakers, something. She was like,
Yeah, yeah. The
my
the
poop smells better in here than this, Pat. That's what I'm
the
saying.
the weird two-tone that was my bedroom at our old house with the light blue walls and the brown carpet. It was always a weird combination when you think about it.
That's that a tad bit off or different. I will say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I know like you earlier you were speaking about they don't really play with toys. When we got Leia from the shelter as well, she we got toys for her and she didn't know what to do with them. So
Hmm.
like she would just kind of sit there and then like she after a while, she's watching like us play with Anakin and like with toys and stuff like that. And she slowly started kind of like picking up on what to do. So then we got her some specific toys for her, small ones. And then she started, gradually getting used to it and kind of like, oh, so this is what I'm supposed to do with these things. Oh, this is kind of
Yeah.
fun. So she kind of like rolled into that and just having fun playing with toys. So now it's
Yeah.
just a
My,
matter of
my
Anakin tries to steal all of her toys now. That's the biggest thing. So he's like,
yeah.
I
I
like
mean,
this better. Why did you get it? And just snabs it from her little bed and stuff like that. I'm like, all right, Anakin, calm down.
yeah. So because that's the thing, like Daisy was very much a player with toys, and so my sister still has a lot of toys left over from when she was alive, and she's tried to get them interested in it, and it hasn't really worked yet. Um, we'll see if it does. She's gonna keep trying to. So I could knock my laptop in my hand. She's gonna keep trying to see if they'll show an interest. So
So Pat, um, we are the dynamic duo, by the way. But our third
yes.
wheel
Uh-huh.
is in our YouTube chat right now.
Oh,
And
he is.
yes, he's like, I'm not there, but I'm here. So I waved to him, and then he put acknowledge me with a mean face. So now he's being demanding.
You know,
So
as
now we are
con
acknowledging you, Jeremy, that you are in chat and you're listening to us live. So
yeah, but as
you're being
Khan
a
said,
meanie.
in Star Trek 2, you are in a position to demand nothing.
I just kind of giggled inside when he, put acknowledge me a mean face.
I mean, Jeremy, my friend, my brother, I will acknowledge you when you choose to show up for work.
I just gave him a red card, by the way.
Ah,
I gave him a stop
that's
sign,
right.
and you get a red card.
You're sitting out the semi-final. Well, hey, I was gonna say that could lead us into a segue and under another
No,
topic there.
no, no segues. No segues into that. Not yet. I mean, we could talk about the game, but getting our asses handed to us. But it is what it is.
Okay. That's just the house making noise because the house is old. That's the thing. It was like when my sister is not here, they will become very cognizant, I guess is the best way to say it, of like any kind of slight noise. Um, like yesterday morning, I had to go out and run a few errands, and my sister was also out running a few errands. I got back before my sister did. As I was like walking up to the porch and everything, I couldn't hear them inside. I heard music playing because my sister, like on her TV, left some like calming music on. Um, as soon as I opened like the screen door, though, I started hearing them bark and everything. So it's like, it makes sense. They'll, especially when they're alone, as soon as they hear something, they'll start getting, they'll start making their voices heard. They're not afraid to. So
Yeah. So Jeremy said that he is nothing like mowing the grass after vacation. So he is mowing the grass. You know what,
oh, so that means he could have chosen to participate this morning
Jeremy?
and
We need to
chose
we need
not
we need
to.
to get your son to learn how to mow the grass. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what though?
Well,
Maybe not. Maybe not.
how yeah,
Maybe
how
like
old is
two
his
more
son
years.
now?
Maybe like 2 more
I was gonna
years.
say, how old is his son now?
Oh God,
His
I'm
son's
at
like 9.
9, 10. I think. Yeah, I'm horrible with remembering my friends' kids' ages. I'm bad at that.
I am too. I just always remember that
Just because
well,
the
his
time goes
young,
so
well,
fast. When you have kids, times goes fast. Like people like, oh
yeah,
my God, your son's gonna like Nico's gonna be 18 in fucking January. Like,
I
fuck.
know that's crazy. That is crazy. And Jeremy's eldest daughter, of course, just got married.
Yeah,
Um, and she's like mid-20s, but it's like funny because when we used to do our wrestling stuff, she came and watched, and she was like what, like 8, 9 years old then. So it's
and to think about that. No, Jeremy said almost old enough, but not yet. Yeah, 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 that's true. Yeah.
yeah, I was gonna say I was trying to
You
figure
don't
out what
want him
age
cutting
I
off a
start.
kid or something. So,
I was trying to figure out what age my dad taught me how to
I
use the
think I was
riding mower that
13
we
when my dad
had.
started making me cut the grass. 12 or
It
13.
was Yeah, so that was the funny thing. I had cut the grass throughout my teenage years. When I came back after, failing out of college and living with them, I think they tried to get me to do the grass again, but my allergies got to the point where it was so bad that I just couldn't.
Hmm.
Um, because just cutting up all the grass and the pollen and everything, but it's like,
That's
it
what I
was
had
like
an issue with. I used to have to wear like a bandana or a mask
what
because of my
well, that
allergies.
was what they were like, well, no, you're gonna wear a mask. And so they bought these masks. I don't know if they were considered like those N95 masks or something like that, because I think we all became familiar with those N95 masks back during COVID and stuff. But whatever the masks were that they bought, yeah, I couldn't, uh
Breathe properly.
well, I was gonna say
First off.
I couldn't breathe in like the freshly cut pollen and grass clippings or anything because I couldn't breathe. Those things were so restrictive. I was just like, I can't do it. I'm going to suffocate. I was like, I wasn't trying to get out of doing chores or stuff. It's like I physically couldn't do it. My allergies got so bad because if I went out and I spent like all day cutting, because you remember my old house, we had a fairly sizable lawn.
Yep.
You had to do you had to do the front and the back. We had the various obstacles. You had to go around the little trees and stuff we had in the house, around the house. Ace is adjusting position again. Um, But it's like, it could take you like 2.5 to 3 hours to do the whole lawn. And my allergies would basically knock me out for like the next 2 days afterward. So, and especially it was like, I couldn't ever cut the grass and then go to work the next day. That was never working. So I just told my dad, I said, I just physically can't do it. You're going to have to do it. That's all there is
I
to
I
it.
was I was at the point like for my allergies, it was challenging, but then having asthma on top of it, that
Yeah,
was
that's the
that
thing. I do
was
have asthma too. I don't have attacks really or anything, but I think it
that
always makes my
was
allergies worse.
yeah. My allergies getting bad triggers my asthma a lot of the times. So that was the other aspect of it. So yeah, I had inhaler in pocket just in case because more times than not, I would say 85% of the time I cut the grass, I was using my inhaler at some point just because I needed to. So yeah,
I
it was
know,
a bit of a
I know,
challenge, bit of a
I know,
challenge for sure,
I know,
for
I know.
sure. But I guess my red card little emoji could lead into a segue of the United States looking like a JV team against, a college
Yeah.
team, which was Belgium.
Well, first of all, of course, since we talked about the red card, we got to, and you can fill me in because you'll probably know some of the details better and like the names because I wasn't really bothering to learn a lot of names. So the one player for the US, what's his name again?
That's which one I'm talking about. The one that
The guy
got
who
the
got
red
red, the
card.
guy who got red card.
Uh, yeah, starts with a B. I don't remember. I can't pronounce his name
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah, ball go on or something.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
The black
So I
dude,
mean he gets red carded in the game against Bosnia Herzegovina,
which was
and I guess
bullshit.
I was gonna say the overwhelming.
It was.
I didn't watch. I don't think I watched much of the game against Bosnia. I definitely didn't see the red card. Um, but the overwhelming response seemed to be that it was a bullshit red card call, and
There was European
again,
soccer players that were saying it was a bullshit. So if the Europeans are saying it, we know it's bullshit.
yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. Um, but of course, by the rules, you get red carded, you can't play in the next game, and that obviously
Mhm.
takes a much more uh bigger impact when you get into the knockout stage. And so, of course, they advance to go play Belgium. And of course, here's where all the fun stuff begins because FIFA, as I've said many times, I believe, on our podcast, and if I haven't said it many times on our podcast, I've said it many times in conversation to almost anybody I ever talked to about this. FIFA is one of the most corrupt organizations in all of sports. I've also said that pretty much
Yes.
any international sports organization is highly corrupt. FIFA, FIBA, the IOC, whatever. They're all fucking corrupt out the ass. And that's to say nothing of our lovely American organizations, but anyway.
Still there.
FIFA's corruption is so obvious and on such a massive level. John Oliver's done multiple segments on FIFA's corruption over the years that his show has been on the air.
Mhm.
And it was like the guy used to be was like the former FIFA president Sepp Blatter, which I guess still can't believe that's a real name. Um,
I know.
but it was like I remember years ago, and because this came up in my Facebook memories not all that long ago, so it must have been I think it was probably 8 years ago was when that year's World Cup was going on. He had been quoted as saying something to the effect of like, "You can't ask people to behave in an ethical manner," and it's like, Uh,
You
no,
can't.
that's exactly what you can do.
It's
Whether they listen to you is an entirely different story.
such an
But yeah,
asinine statement. Just like
you're definitely supposed to ask them to behave in an ethical manner. So again, so they got this new guy and he's been cozying up to Trump, which I understand on a certain level because obviously the US is one of the three host countries here, this joint, like essentially North American hosting between the US, Canada, and Mexico. And Ace, what are you crying about? Oh boy, I wonder if they have to go OUT. I hope not. But no, he's laying down now. Okay. He's just being whiny. So he's been cozying up to Trump. He gave Trump this fake peace prize that they created just to give it to Trump. And I think that was FIFA's way of trying to just curry Trump's favor because, Trump, of course, was making a big stink about not getting the Nobel Peace Prize, which, hey,
my
good luck with
God, it
getting that.
was
Which, hey, good luck with ever getting that now after you started a war in Iran, you dumb shit. But anyway, um, so yeah. So the story broke then. I don't remember now if it was last Sunday or if it was during the day Monday. I can't remember exactly what it was, but the red card, it wasn't that it I don't think it was that it was rescinded, but they just kind of like unilaterally decided that they
it was
weren't going to
suspended.
right. It was so they weren't going to enforce the ban for the next game. And they cited some regulation in the FIFA bylaws that pretty much every commentator I saw have a take on it said, well, this is ridiculous, and that's not really what that rule is in there for.
Yeah, there.
So,
I've read their rules and bylaws before, and some of the stuff in there makes absolutely no sense.
yeah. Well, I think somebody said it was essentially like it's essentially something they put in there in case something happens to a star player, because I think they cited something where it might have been Messi or Ronaldo or one of the big players had something like this happen similarly in years past, and they did kind of the same thing so like that star player could play in the next game, which was like an important game or something. So again, would they have done it if it wasn't like a star player in that instance? Probably not. So that's why it's like a rule that they inserted in there basically to just to like cover themselves, I guess, if um
I mean, if the star player is deserving of the red card, he's deserving of the red card. It is what it is.
right, right,
You know what I mean?
exactly.
So the
Yep.
other aspect to it is the fact
Yeah,
that,
lay on the couch. You're better on the couch.
I think there was people were complaining this year. They're like, and Messi was brought up because I think there was a situation where Messi was kind of getting tired of some of the physicality in one of the games earlier. So
Yeah.
he kind of blatantly did something to one of the players who was doing something to him. And I don't remember if the player got hurt, but he went down and people were calling for a red card against Messi in pool play. And they're like, well, that was intent. This wasn't intent. The star player got nothing, and this guy got a red card. So, and
Right.
there was other things too. So there was a part of that game where I think I'm sorry, I'm horrible with pronouncing names. Pulisic, the other supposed star on the U.S. team, he got
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see two things with that guy. I never know how to pronounce his name properly, and it always makes me go, wait a minute, if this guy has an unpronounceable name, how can he be American?
and it was one something where like it was in front of the goalie and he was blatantly like pulled down from the back of his jersey or some shit like that, but like no yellow card, nothing, no blatant stuff done to him, and no cards against those players either. So, I mean, there's a lot of gripes for both ways in regards to it because
Yeah,
I'm sorry, there's times where I'm watching soccer and people are getting yellow cards and I'm like, oh, you got a yellow card for what again?
yeah,
When like, 2 minutes earlier, this person did this to this person and it was way worse than what that was, and you're calling a yellow card for that, but you let that play just go, whatever. It's just a little bit too much sub it's they give the refs too much of being subjective to what they believe a yellow or red card is
right.
deserving of. I think the rules need to be a little bit more stricter in regards to like this is a red card, this is a yellow card. Like, yeah, there's physicality in soccer to a certain extent with the slides and fighting for the football, feet get tangled up, so on and so on. And there's times where that's just like, hey, it's normal play. Just keep going. And there's other times where it's like there's yellow cards being thrown every fucking which way but loose. So it's kind of like, what the fuck are we doing here? These are normal
Yeah,
soccer plays, but you guys are throwing yellow cards all over the place. Like it just too much inconsistency. I mean, we always complain about inconsistency with refs, but I just feel like certain sports the last couple years, during not so much during regular season games, but during like playoffs and like championship games, we've just been seeing a little bit too much inconsistency when it comes to referees calling
right.
game, patrolling games.
Yeah. So I mean,
But yeah,
there's obviously been a lot of controversy in this World Cup about like the VARs, and I know there's been several countries that have bitched about them. I mean, that's the problem. It's all subjective, and it's like it's one thing to see it in real time, and it's much another to see it in like slow-mo replays and everything. It's like I feel like it's like this. There's obviously going to be contact in soccer with guys going for the ball, going for tackles, what have you. If you see something in real time and you think it's a card, then okay, throw the card. If they want to take a look at it, then you should be able to do that. But all you should be looking for is not necessarily like what like the strength, I guess, of the attack was, but more along the lines of like, was he playing the ball and it was more or less that they bang knees, they're this guy's foot scraped that guy's
and
ankle,
in what
or
comes,
was it that he was going after the guy? Because
yeah,
that obviously they shouldn't be doing. And it's like that's where you can maybe use the slow mo to help you down and stuff. And again, I haven't watched a lot of World Cup, so I can't pretend to know the ins and outs and of every bad call or controversial call or anything like that. But again, it just seems like they haven't been able to satisfy what people are looking for or expecting, and that's not good.
Yeah.
Because then
Yeah.
because it delegitimizes everything.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah, and we went through the same stuff in the NBA finals with them like reviewing whether this was a flagrant or not, and they were still fucking that up. So,
oh God, yeah, they couldn't get that shit
you
right.
know,
And
yeah,
it's one of the things like soccer is that sport where American basketball got their, good old acting flopping skills from.
yeah.
So, there's a lot of acting going on there. So you're right, Jeremy. So much acting in soccer and they can be bought. Yeah, FIFA just they're corrupt. They just feel like man, they can be bought for any amount of dollar, no matter who's running that fucking organization. And just the way it seems to go.
Oh
Especially
yeah.
if
Yeah.
it
I
happened in
mean, well,
Qatar and stuff like that for that World Cup.
right.
Jesus God.
That is always going to be the most obvious form of FIFA's corruption was that they gave the World Cup to Qatar that had no infrastructure in place to run this tournament. And
No.
of course, Qatar proved it by what happened in that country as they were building all the stadiums because there was the slave labor, there was the workers dying, it was just,
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean, when you got in there to do a job, you think you're getting paid what you're getting paid, but you're not being told that you're going to be pretty much working 24 hours a day and they're taking your passport from you and all this other shit. So,
yeah. And the fact that like FIFA didn't, as far as I know, really face any kind of significant trouble for that kind of stuff. It's just it kind of boggles the mind. But
yeah.
it's like it's another point that I think I've made before because in the developed world, I think people have kind of gotten wise to the fact that these big international tournaments don't bring these big economic boons that they say that they're going to.
It only
So,
it only does if you already have like the infrastructure to hold.
well, right. That's my
Yeah.
point. So it's like
If you
that's why I'm
don't,
saying
then
like,
you're wasting so much money, and that money coming in from all the fans is only compensating for a certain percentage of you, the infrastructure,
hey,
because then after it's gone, a lot
no,
of these infrastructures that these countries build are
it's
never
okay.
again. So,
Stop.
what are they using them for? You might as well
Yeah.
just tear them all down and fucking.
Well, yeah. I mean, the biggest thing was for the Athens Olympics, they didn't have a baseball stadium because baseball was still an Olympic sport. They had to build a baseball stadium. They did, and within like 3 or 4 years after the Olympics were over and that place wasn't being used, that place looked like a Greek ruin.
Yeah. At that point,
So
just
it's
fucking
like
tear it down.
right. So the whole point is like these continued international tournaments, they're only ever going to go to countries that are fit one of two criteria. One, they already have all the infrastructure in place, so nothing needs to be built out. That's what you saw with this year's World Cup. It's what you'll see with the LA Olympics in 2 years.
Yep.
Or two, it's going to go to the totalitarian nations that don't have to answer to their people with how they're spending their money.
Mhm.
That's like why Kazakhstan was like bidding for the one Winter Olympics that I think went to China. But it's like, yeah, if I were to, I don't remember the last time I did it because I know I've done it since we've done this podcast. But like, if I were to go on and look for like the future Olympics that haven't been awarded yet to see like what countries are like bidding for them, again, I think it's going to be mostly countries that, like I said, fall into one of those two criteria. So yeah, but yeah, it's like the problem then is like, you may not see like maybe say like some of these European countries, which are democracies, uh host Olympics again because they're gonna be like, yeah, what's the point? It's like,
Mhm.
or it's only gonna go to like, again, it's only gonna go to like their big cities, like so London, Paris, maybe Berlin sometime again in the future, though. Of course, I definitely understand why they're reluctant to go host the Olympics in Germany again because
It's not the same Germany though.
it's not. But it was like, well, that was the whole thing. Obviously, they had the Berlin Olympics in 1936 when Hitler was in power, and then the only other time I think they've gone back to the Olympics, either version of the Olympics since then, was Munich in 1972, and of course we know what happened then.
Hmm.
So it's one of those things where it's like I can't remember how much Germany's ever even tried to bid for any recent Olympics, but anyway. So again, so they suspend the red card so this guy could play against Belgium. And then in the maybe you should have kept this to yourself moment, our great president, Donald J. Trump, Monday morning and afternoon, brags that he called the FIFA president and asked for the red card to be suspended.
Yep. And that puts a target on our back because I feel like Belgium, they didn't like how the red card was reversed. They appealed it and they got, their appeal was denied. And
And they
then
had
the
every
fact,
right to do that.
oh, of course, absolutely. And that just put a chip on their shoulder to give them that extra bulletin board material.
Yeah.
And they did what some of the commentators um thought they were going to do, is because they are an older team, but they put some of their young up and coming players and stars on the field against the US, and the US couldn't do shit about it, unfortunately.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
they just had, and it was just, I feel like that was the bulletin board material they needed to be like, let's throw it in the face of the USA. And they fucking did. And we made mistakes after mistakes that led to three of those four goals. Listen, I watching the goalie come out, I didn't have an issue with him coming out to the ball because he was going to get there first. The problem is he hesitated. The first thing he do is he made it to the ball first, clear it, boom, get it out. Because all you see is like Belgian people all in front of him. Like you need to get rid of that shit fast. So clear it
Yeah.
out ASAP. He hesitated, and once he hesitated, that was it. Goal for Belgium. And I was like,
Yeah.
dude, we can't be doing this.
So I was actually down here in this room watching that
And
game on
so many
Monday night because
giveaways too.
my
Jesus Christ.
yeah. Oh yeah, because oh that's right. Because Monday was my sister and brother-in-law's anniversary, and my
Okay.
brother-in-law was stuck working late, typically. Um, and my sister finally got him to come home. It's like they wanted to go out to eat. It's understandable. So I'm down here watching the dogs. So I had the game on. I had Raw on my computer, and I had the game on the TV. Since I couldn't like do a nice like split thing because obviously Raw's on Netflix. Um, so like so I'm kind of like looking up and looking at and so like I missed like the first two goals, but I saw how quickly they scored them. I'm like, oh, this is great. I said, I don't know if this team can come from behind. And then yeah, the third goal, the third Belgian goal. As I was telling our friend AJ on the phone last night, that may have been the worst play I've ever seen on a soccer field. I really couldn't think of something that looked worse, where it looked like the players just didn't know what the fuck they were doing. Now, here's the thing I'm going to ask you to remind me of because I sometimes forget these rules. So, obviously, he's so far out of the box and so far away from the goal. Is he not allowed to pick the ball up with his hands at that spot? He can't.
No, he's
Okay.
not. He has to be within a certain I think he has to stay within the box in order to
Okay.
pick up
See,
the ball.
See, that's what I assumed because it's like you're the
When
goalie
he's
and
outside the box, he's not allowed to touch it.
right, because that was my thing. I'm like, you're the goalie, why aren't you just picking the ball up? But he looked like he didn't know what he was going to do. It's like, and my thing is like, if you're coming that far out, the only thing you can do and the only thing you should do is just kick it back down the field. Just don't even think, don't even hesitate, just
I
kick the
I
ball back down the field.
I don't know what his thought process was. It just like, if you're going to attack the ball in that manner, you have to already know what you're going to do. And it seems like he attacked it, but wasn't sure which, if he was doing A, B, or C, D, E, F, or G,
Right.
the whole alphabet.
Yeah.
And he just, yeah, he fucked it up.
And then the problem was
That
the
was the
Belgian
nail in the
player,
coffin for us.
right? And then the play, and then yeah, because like you see them from the looks on their faces, they were all just like, "What the hell just happened?" And it's like, well, you just lost.
Yeah.
you know. But like the Belgian player got behind him and was like, I don't like. I think they were even like the announcers. I think when I rewound it, even were saying like, well, like, maybe there was a foul and everything. And I almost think that that's what it was. I think the goalie got it in his head. Oh my God, this guy's right behind me. So he just either thought he got fouled, which he didn't, because the replay pretty much showed that he didn't. But he let himself get distracted so
Mhm.
that he like didn't kick the ball. He like kicked the turf and then they just stole the ball from him. It's like, you got to give kudos to the Belgian player because he did exactly what you would want him to do. He fucked up the goalie's thought pattern and
Yep.
just it was
So
just it was incredible. Again, like I said, I can't ever recall seeing a play on a soccer field, that stupidly. But so, like you said, it was they gave them all the bulletin board material though, because Trump's basically saying, "Oh yeah, I got the red card suspended." Um, yeah, so if you're Belgium, yeah, you can obviously say, okay, so look at how corrupt this looks. The president of the host country
I know. Gets a red card
calls the
suspended.
FIFA president and says suspend the red card. And so yeah. And a lot of people, of course, were pointing out the irony that the guy from the US who got the red card is a birthright citizen. And of course there was the Supreme Court ruling week before last now that upheld birthright citizenship, and Trump was so pissed off about that. So you love that irony. But of course, now people are also talking about the Trump sports curse, because it's like he interjected himself into this. The U.S. lost. He showed up to Game 3 of the NBA Finals. The Knicks lost. The home team. There's been a few other things. So it's like, yeah, it's like Donald. Maybe just shut the fuck up about sports already.
It's
Don't you have
one.
more important things to do, like trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of this Iran war? You dumb shit.
Um, it's one of the things too where I just feel
Come
that
here.
even
Come here.
we would not have
Come
beaten
on.
Belgium even if he wasn't playing. I don't think it would have went down in the manner it did, but I think we probably would have we would have lost by multiple goals. Put it that way.
Yeah.
Belgium still would have beat us. Probably not, the embarrassing aspect of how we did lose. But we definitely would have lost to Belgium.
Yeah.
It makes me laugh because so next year, 2027 is the Women's World Cup, and
Hmm.
it's being held in Brazil. And it just baffles me. And it's
Brazil.
nothing against the women's soccer team. I'm not saying anything bad about them because they're awesome. They're great. But it just baffles me how our women's soccer team has been good for such an extended period of time, for several decades, mind you. And our women's team is able to put together these very good, competitive, kick ass soccer teams, but our men's can't do shit.
Well,
We
yeah.
get like
And
these star players here and there, and they play well, but they can't play well in big moments all the time. And it's just like there's just something about the men's soccer team where we can never get our shit together. But the women are like, hold my beer, hold my wine glass, guys. Fuck you guys. We're better than you, which they are. They've
well,
been for so long.
yeah.
It's amazing.
I'll tell you why. This is a point I was going to make anyway, so I'm kind of glad that you brought this up. I'll tell you why I think that is. When it comes to men's sports, soccer is not and will never be more important in this country than baseball, football, basketball, hockey, auto racing, golf,
Yep.
maybe tennis too. But
To a certain extent.
we haven't had a lot of good men's tennis
I
players
mean,
for a while in the US.
even though the MLS is very popular, they've been expanding. They've been having expansions of new teams in MLS, and the NWSL is very
Yeah,
popular. Like the minor league one for the females and the men, because we have North Carolina has NC Courage for both. I follow the Chicago Red Stars for the women, but they have then the minor leagues pretty much for both. And that league for the women's is more kind of like the pro league. That's the equivalent of the MLS, and the men's version of that league is like the minor leagues for
yeah,
the MLS per se. But and
yeah.
they become very popular and they're growing as well. But it's still not going to be, yeah, it's like what, seventh on the list of sports in the United
Right,
States for
right.
men's at least.
And then when you look at women's sports, there's only one sport that you could argue is bigger for women's sports than soccer, and that's basketball.
Yep.
But there aren't a lot of other women's sports. I mean, like, leaving outside like Olympic, type events, like track and swimming, which we of course have a lot of good athletes on both sides, men's and women's. But like, softball, volleyball, field hockey, it's like there's nothing to those in terms of
So
women's sports, especially once you're outside the collegiate level. So yeah, basketball and soccer are the top two women's sports. So that's why I think it's easier, I guess you could say, for soccer to be for us to have such a good women's soccer team because it's one of the few sports that you can go into as a woman and you expect to be able to do something with it, you know.
Yeah. So for the women's aspect, for like any pro leagues, there's really, you have the WNBA, and then you have the NWSL, right? So those are like the top two. Then I would say maybe third would probably be the NWHL or the PWHL, which that's the Professional Women's Hockey League. So they're expanding now too. They start off with 4 teams. I think they're going to be expanding up to 10 teams within the next 2 years. I think they're expanding to 3 teams this coming season. So that pro hockey league has been growing for the women. So kudos to them with that. And then I would probably say fourth on that list. Oh God, I've seen it on TV. It's softball. I forget what it's called. Uh, oh man, I want to say it's athletes something or other, but they show it on ESPN and ESPN2, and I've watched the softball pro league because Chicago has, I think it's the Chicago Bandits has a team. And it's a lot of the old, college stars and all that stuff playing on these teams. So that's something that's growing for them too. But it's not, of course, not on the men's level or on the level of the WNBA or the NWSL, but that's kind of like the 4 sports that you kind of see for the women. There might be something for field hockey, but I'm not really sure, honestly. But yeah, I mean, but it's just nonetheless of that aspect. I just feel it's just weird how with the MLS and the men's like minor league, second tier soccer league, that we just can't get anything going. And it's just the women are just have been outpacing the men for decades now. And it's just kind of crazy. It's kind of like the men's care, but they don't care. It's just
Yeah.
something that's very weird where it's just not, it baffles me.
Yeah, and you mentioned MLS and uh
Yeah, Jeremy said his daughter and her new husband, they go watch MLS. MLS, I watch MLS
well
too, man. I
that's
have Chicago Fire.
that's
I follow the Chicago
yeah.
Fire. I follow all my Chicago teams, but I watch the MLS. But I mean, it's
I re
it's still a acquired taste when it comes to soccer for some reason. And
Right.
being in North Carolina, there are a lot of soccer fields around here. There's a lot of youth soccer leagues. So soccer is definitely popular in North Carolina but still North Carolina is like basketball. And this is
Well,
ACC
yeah.
country, you know what I mean? This is basketball
Right, right. Well,
and
even when I was a kid, both here.
football. I don't, you know what? I wonder if, now that I think about it, I wonder what the second most popular sport in North Carolina would be. Would it be football or baseball?
I would still
Because
say
let's think
probably
about it.
football.
Let's think about it. Like, come on now. I mean, NC State's football team has been decent. Duke, North Carolina, you know, Wake Forest, um,
They haven't done anything for a while.
Appalachian State, I think has been more popular in North Carolina and some of the ACC teams to a certain extent. Baseball's baseball is definitely big down here too. That's another sport. Baseball is definitely big. I don't know. I'd have to like really think about that one. Yeah,
It's me.
Jeremy, we really only do care about men's soccer during the World Cup, unfortunately, a country as a whole.
Yeah. Well, what I was trying to say is I remember when MLS was first created back in the 90s. This probably isn't so much the case now, but I remember more than a couple people, like soccer analysts at the time, saying that the creation of MLS was going to be a bad thing for the US men's international team. National team. Because he said you probably have a lot of players who are going to just choose to stay home and play now that they have somewhere they can play on like a professional level that doesn't require them going overseas. And that's understandable. But they said the problem is the competition level in MLS is not going to be anywhere near the various Euro leagues and everything like that. So you're going to be playing down a level of competition. You're going to, you're just going to adapt to playing to that level of competition. That's like a natural thing that just happened. It's not one of those things that you necessarily try to do, but it just happens again. So like, they're going to get used to playing like an MLS level of competition. Then they're going to go play like international games, and they're going to be playing a competition level that's two, three, four steps above, and they're just going to get overwhelmed. And I think you have seen that because didn't they say this is the furthest the U.S. had advanced in the World Cup in quite a few years?
Yeah, since like the early 2000s. And the thing
Yeah,
about that is like that's definitely true to an extent, but at the same aspect, we've seen a lot of European players from over there funnel into the US as well and play
right. So that's the thing. I think the competition level in MLS
in the
has
last
improved
10 to 12 years
over the
has
years.
definitely.
Yeah, but it's still probably I can't imagine anybody would say that's like the competition level in MLS is at the same level, say like the EPL. At least
Yeah,
I
I mean
wouldn't
it's
think
it's
so,
not as big as the Premier League or one of the other two, but it's still
That
comparable.
one Italian league whose name is escaping me right now.
It's
Uh,
still comparable though, because there are players like so Chicago Fire have a younger kid, a star from I think South Africa, a defender, that played for a European team, but now he's playing for the Chicago MLS team during the MLS season, and then it's going to be signing with the European
yeah.
team to play in the off season. And then Chicago Fire now getting some other European star player to come to US to play for in the MLS. So, I mean, we've seen Messi come over and we've seen other people. Beckham was kind of the first really one to really when he signed with LA and now he
Oh
owns
yeah, I remember what a big deal that was. Yeah.
he came to LA and then played for the LA team, and then he is now he started the Miami. He's the owner of the Miami franchise. That Messi plays for. So, kudos to him. I mean, helping
Hmm.
out the MLS in that aspect because it was helpful that one of the listen, Beckham, wherever you want to rank him in the history of greatest soccer players, that's subjective and debatable. He's definitely not a top five player, but he definitely was one of the he was a very good top tier soccer player and one of the most recognizable soccer players in history, put it that way.
Well,
Um,
yes. I mean, I think one list where you would definitely put him in the top five would be like, say, like top five most beautiful male athletes.
or you could say most influential soccer players
Certainly,
because
certainly influential. I mean, again, bend it like Beckham. I mean,
yeah, that I
your
mean,
your
and when
your
he
name literally gets put into a movie title. It's like that accounts for something, you know?
not just the pop culture stuff of who he married and all that stuff at the end of the day, but he comes over to the United States and like the contract he had with the LA team. I want to say the LA Galaxy. I think that's what their
I'm
team is.
pretty sure it was the Galaxy. Yeah.
So the thing with his contract was he had a contract with LA, but he also got like ownership stakes within MLS or LA. Couldn't remember if it was team ownership of LA or some shares or whatever in MLS itself, which helped him when they were expanding teams create get an expansion team in Florida, in Miami. So, you know, financially, influential in helping MLS, take another step in the right direction in regards to making the MLS league more popular and viable for
Yeah.
European players to play when the European leagues are not playing. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Oh,
And yes, it was the LA Galaxy that Beckham came to play for.
yep. Yeah, if you Google his contract, like it's very, um, because they had that documentary with him and he was talking about his contract and they were going through and I was just like, you did what? MLS
Yeah.
did what for you? But hey,
Well, yeah, that's the thing. The
I
this
would
little
too if I
AI
was MLS.
when I did a Google search for what MLS team did David Beckham play for, the little AI overview. Beckham's ownership it mentions about how he's the co-owner and president of Inter Miami CF, an MLS franchise based in Fort Lauderdale. He secured the rights to the team in 2014, and the club officially began playing in 2020.
Yep.
Beckham's ownership rights stem from a historic contract he signed when joining the LA Galaxy as a player in 2007. which included a heavily discounted $25 million option to purchase an MLS expansion franchise.
Yep.
Today, the club is one of the most recognizable brands in the world and boasts a valuation in the billions.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep.
that's like it's not the same thing, but it just kind of reminds me of. Do you know how much George Steinbrenner paid for the Yankees in 1973? $10 million. Now,
Yeah.
even, of course, 1973, $10 million is a hell of a lot more than $10 million now, 53 years later.
Yes.
But that franchise is worth in the billions now too. So it's like, $10 million wouldn't even buy you like, a part ownership in the Yankees now, so
And it's crazy. You think about the discount. He secures the expansion in 2014 and it doesn't start till 2020, but he gets everything set up in 2014.
yeah.
And then,
Hmm.
you create this team and then who you bring over. Some people consider the GOAT of soccer, Messi. Messi comes from Europe and right to the MLS and gives more credibility to the league.
Yep.
They were already on the rise with other European players coming, but like that guy was the guy to kind of like, okay, if Messi's coming over, I guess it's okay. Because before Messi, I think it was that other guy. His name starts with a Z, tall white dude, blonde hair or whatever. Um,
I know who you mean, but I
not
can't
blonde
remember his
hair, not
name.
Holland. I'm thinking of Holland, but the guy who was starting as Z, he had brown hair. But he played, I think, for LA as well. He played for the Galaxy, but he came over kind of like before Messi. So that was kind of one of the top guys over in Europe coming over to the MLS. But yeah, it's just we just don't, I don't know. It's just baffling.
Yeah.
The one sport,
Um,
we need some positivity and some, star players, and we just can't get it done.
yep. So, like I said, I mean, like, hopefully the women can bring it home again next year.
Yep.
I've kind of lost touch in a lot of ways with the women's team. It's like I used to know who was on the women's team, but most all those players have aged out or retired now. I mean, like Alex Morgan's retired now, for example. So it's like that like core that was there for like a pretty strong run there for several years there between the Olympics and the Women's World Cup. I think like pretty much all those players are retired now. So now it's like Trinity Rodman and like the next
Watson, I
gen,
think,
as
is
they
going
say.
to be on the team.
Yeah. So again, hopefully the Women's World Cup wins. And again, just I've said this before, and I was shown to this to have a few times again with some of the World Cup games I watched for a few minutes here and there. In the women's games, I swear to God, they get tackled, they go down. If they go down and stay down, they're hurt all the time.
Yeah, yeah. You can tell which ones are
You,
actually hurt and which ones aren't.
I never see too many women uh, flopping in women's soccer games. And if I do, it's
Men
always
are
almost.
horrible at it.
And if I do see a woman flop and stay down and play act in a women's soccer game, it's almost always a European player. Um, the men's game, now there was plenty of times where I saw guys, I'm like, oh, okay, I can see why he's still down on the ground in pain after that one, after they showed like the replay. But there's still a lot where I saw where the guy was just so obviously fucking pantomiming
Oh yeah.
that it was like, this is when you wish the ref would have been able to tell that he's faking it and would come over and be like, "You get your ass off the fucking ground, or you're getting carded."
Oh, I mean, let's go back to the red card. When that play happened, he was like, "Oh, I'm in agonizing pain." And as soon as the ref threw the red card, boop, pain gone. Got up and hopped back
That's
right
that.
up.
That's always been my criticism. They're down on the ground writhing, and as soon as they see the card come out, they're back up and they're running at full speed with like no signs of
Yep.
injury. It's like, dude, they don't even no sell that much in wrestling these days.
That is one of the things where, and what I wanted to bring up earlier is for yellow cards and red cards. If they're gonna throw them, keep playing, but you should have the booth, a replay team, reviewing that and kind of like a committee being like, all right,
We should get back up here.
is that legitimately a yellow card? Was that legitimately a red card? And could be like, hey, that yellow card standing, that red card standing, or no, that red card needs to be a yellow card or that yellow card's going away. That should be something where they kind of like that gets announced.
Yeah,
Some type
definitely.
of replay booth in regards to that. Keep the game going. Don't have a stoppage because God, they already have stoppage play after every half anyway. So
I think I've seen more stoppage time in this World Cup than I
yes,
have in like any other soccer games in
fucking been a
any
lot.
tournament before. I think there was the one game I saw the other day that said plus 12. I was like, plus 12?
Yes, dude. It was fucking ridiculous.
And I was like, I don't think I've ever seen plus that number, high number before. So but so we got the semifinal set now. So what do we got? We got France against Spain
Yeah, let me pull it up.
and England against Argentina, which our dear friend AJ is going to suffer for because
Yeah, his brother's an England fan.
his brother is a hardcore England fan, and he roots for Argentina because he likes Messi.
Yep.
Uh, I was on the phone with him last night while the England Norway game was going on, and I could hear his brother in the background from like I think it was like from several rooms away too, like yelling about this or celebrating like the one goal that they scored and everything. And I guess he said his brother gets into it a little too much, and I'll just leave it at that. So he said he's going to be in misery with that England Argentina game on Wednesday night. He said it's not going to
Oh,
be a fun experience.
oh no, they're gonna have to be in separate rooms, maybe separate houses. Um,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, I think he said because of when the game is being played that his brother may not be home from work, so that might be his one saving. Okay, Diamond. So that might be his one saving grace. Is that he may not be there for most of the game, but it's like, it's like be like,
Yeah, there
yeah.
was
So
something yesterday in that game with Norway where I guess Holland came out of the game.
he did. He came out I think at the end, and it was still only a one goal game, but I think it was during extra time and they were running out of time. And he might have taken a hard hit too. So maybe they were worried about maybe like a concussion or something like that. But I almost interpreted that as like they were waving the red flag pretty much when that happened. So, or not the red flag, the white flag. Like they pretty much
It's
expected that they didn't have a chance.
it's kind of one of those things where like you don't want to take your best player off because you can go into penalty kicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
It
I
was
know.
almost as if it was almost as if they were showing that they didn't have much confidence that they could get that equalizing goal no matter what.
Yeah, I guess. The other thing too is I heard Norway was bitching about some TV wire helping with one of the goals, but they were like, yeah, that's not what happened. I don't know. I didn't look into that one really, but hey, Norway did
No,
have a
no, 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 Zace, damn it.
what happened?
He just peed on the pad over here. It's not a puppy pad either. Damn you. You didn't give me any warning before you did that.
Which one was it?
Ace, the boy.
Oh, boy's always doing something silly.
Yeah. All right, give me a second here. I gotta just make sure it didn't go through to the damn carpet.
No, that's
Yeah.
great. That's gonna play cleanup duty, people. So let's see. Tuesday we have France versus Spain at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, and Wednesday 3 o'clock England versus Argentina. Um, I don't know, man. We might have Argentina versus France. France are gonna whoop Argentina's butt, I think, if that happens, unfortunately. But I don't know. We'll see how this goes. Kind of excited to see how the World Cup plays out in regards to that. We will see. We will see. Is my dog here? Is he outside? No, he's outside the door. I thought I heard him. Well, Jeremy, I hope you're having an eventful time cutting your grass, which I don't think should take you very long. I mean, you kind of have a narrow yard, if I remember correctly, the way the house is set up. Yeah. So hope you're having fun. Hope it's not too hot up there. I'm not sure what the weather in Pennsylvania is these days, but it's been hot as balls as the devil down here in North Kakalaki. I will say that. 100%. Now, let's see where we segue to here. We talked about soccer. Um, Pat does his little rant about politics from time to time. That's kind of his thing. Maybe we should oh, let's see what else. NBA's too far gone past, even though, Pat got to enjoy a New York team winning the championship because he hasn't been able to see that since the Yankees. It's been a while for that too. So, Pat getting to see the Knicks win an NBA championship. Kudos to him, regards to that. Because the Nets really aren't. New Jersey Nets, Brooklyn, blah, whatever. They're not a real New York team. Are they really? I don't know. Some people might be mad at me for saying that, but whatever. Let's see here. Maybe it's time we talk about the world of professional wrestling. And just for you people out there, just want to give a shout out. We had 36 subscribers, and then maybe we should take a month off more often. We jumped in subscribers, you know what I mean? We had 37, now we're up to 44. It's a jump. I'll take it, whatever. You know, I do apologize. I've been slacking on posting things. Everyone's got stuff going on this summer, but I need to be a little bit more diligent with that. So that is on me 100%. I will say that. But yes, I do appreciate we also getting some subscribers here. So that's always a good thing as Pat is on his way back. And
Yeah, sorry about that. The joy of dogs.
no, it
Bad
happens.
boy.
I was just saying, you know, we took talk about the NBA, but it's been a while, and your Knicks won the NBA championship. It's been a while for you to see a New York team win since the Yankees, because God, the Yankees don't win anything. But a New York team.
Well, and it's that one isn't even the last one. The last one was the Giants in Super Bowl 46. So that's how long it had been. Because
Oh, I guess so.
you
Yeah.
think about it, you think about it in these terms, the Giants franchise as a whole has been ass since Super Bowl 46. So, that's how long it took for another New York team to win. I mean, the Rangers made the Cup Finals the one year there. Uh, the Yankees made the World Series finally again 2 years ago. But yeah, and the Mets made the World Series back in 2016. But yeah, the Jets have been even more of a train wreck. Diamond, don't you even think about it.
I was talking about the Nets, but
Diamond,
they're a Jersey team. They're not Brooklyn. Fuck that.
Diamond, no.
Uh-oh.
Um, okay, I'm gonna have to.
Devin's like, well, he did it. Why can't I do it?
Well, that's what I'm thinking here. So, uh, Diamond, do you have to go potty? Yeah, she does. I have to put them out. All right, I'll be back.
Oh, okay.
Come on, guys.
The joy of having dogs. See, I live in an apartment, so it's not easy just to let them out in a backyard that has a fence, which is definitely nice. But yes, as I was saying, for subscribers, appreciate that. I've seen an uptick in our Podbean downloads, so thank you, fans, for all over the world. I know we have a majority of our fans, download from the United States, but we have a lot of downloads from a lot of random countries throughout the world. I will say that. You know what? Let me pull up these stats. I'm curious to see where we are at with that right now. I'm sorry if this is boring to you, but let's pull up because I want to say thank you to the fans in regards to listening to us, downloading us, and whatnot, and seeing what we got going on here. So look at this. We had, here we go. Oh, Lord have mercy, look at this. In the past 14 days, we've had 83 downloads. So that's good. I'll take those numbers. So just give you the gist of it. We have, let me pull this up before I start talking. Okay, so we have the YouTube podcast. And then with that being said, I usually post when we go live on Facebook. Sometimes I slack with that. I haven't done that yet, so I got to do that. Just reminding myself. Thank you. But we have audio too. So when we post, we have the Podbean website, so you fans download from there. But we can also our audio is also on Apple Podcast, the Podbean podcast app as well. We're also on Spotify. We're also on Amazon Music. I believe Jeremy had set us up. We're also, yes, we are. We're also on iHeartRadio. So we're on those major podcast websites as well, in regards to that. So that's pretty damn cool. Definitely awesome with that. Now, let's go back to the trends here. We are at, for downloads for our history, we're at, let's see what little icon says here. We're at 13,138 downloads lifetime. So that is so freaking cool. That's definitely awesome that we have accomplish that. And that's for you guys just listening to our craziness antics on here. We used to be organized, now we're not. We kind of randomly just bring up topics and talk. Sometimes we're organized. I try to be, at least. The other two don't listen to me. They just like to go off in their rants, especially Pat. Um, but with that being said, in the past 14 days, we've had 83 downloads and we had 57 of those on July 6th. So hey, whatever July 6th was, that we had 57 downloads, that is pretty darn sweet. Um, yeah, we've had, look at that. That is really cool. We've had a lot of the downloads. Let me pull up some of the statistics here. Sorry if I'm boring you guys. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, well, check this out. I think, what's the time frame for this? Okay, so for since for the past 30 days, 60% of our downloads have come from the United States. Um, we've had 28% from Singapore and 11% from Japan. So thank you to our Asian um listeners. That's pretty damn dope. I'll definitely like that. And Podbean gives us a breakdown for a lot of stuff here. So that's, pretty darn cool. Let's see, US. We've had most of our downloads from California and Georgia. Well, hot damn. Look at that. Wait till I tell Pat that. California and Georgia. And I just want to say something as well. We have to do more podcasts on music when Pat comes back, because I just want to say something. Our most downloaded, and this is downloaded through audio, this is downloaded through YouTube, for YouTube most viewed, most watched. The most watched episode we've ever had was back in 2021. It was bass thumping rap music, where we talked about rap music. And I think the majority of that show was talking about the music, rap music from the 80s and the 90s. Because I will still say I think the 90s is really the best decade for music overall in general, for all genres, in regards to that. Now you can make a case for some other decades because of like the Beatles coming out and certain rock bands and things of that nature. But I think the 70s was kind of like a start for all the music genres, and it kind of just grew into 80s, and then the 90s is where it kind of just boomed. Um, for all the stuff that we got in the 90s. It was great stuff. So sorry for you young folk not lived through that, I graduated high school in the 90s, so I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm 49 years old. It's all good. So bass thumping rap music. And here's the thing about this. In the past month, this has had 15 downloads. This episode, people are still, downloading this one about rap music. So we need to split up at times and be more organized, that the other twos will listen to me. Yes, Jeremy, if you're still listening, that includes you, um, as well as Pat. Some clarity here, in regards to that, because we love music, and movies too, but we should get down with some music stuff. Um, so another thing, I'm going to wait for Pat to come back because he's going to be a part of something that he does not know of yet. Now, it's something I've created off to the side. And it'll be me, Pat, Jeremy as well, even though he does not watch this sport as much. But we might get some other people to jump on this other side show that we're going to be doing. But yeah, we have this is really let's pull up those stats in the last 3 months. Our top day was 89 downloads back in April. That's just 56 in May. It's just really, really freaking cool stuff. And once again, even the past 3 months, our top downloaded Bass Thumping Rap Music. And unfortunately, that's the show that Pat was not on. I wonder if that says something. I don't know. There's a couple other ones Pat hasn't been on. I'll see what the views for that one is. Maybe it's a Pat thing. Maybe I don't want to tell him. All right, let's see. Oh, look at this. We got people from all over the world downloading our stuff. Vietnam, Hong Kong, Germany, Bangladesh, Brazil, Argentina, India, Iraq, Venezuela, Mexico, Singapore, Pakistan, Canada, Chile, Colombia, Ecuador, Ukraine. All right. Kenya, Morocco, Oman, Palestine, territory disputed. I don't know what that is. Austria, Denmark, Algeria, Egypt, France, UK, Guatemala, Israel, Jamaica. Wow. We have had, my God, you guys have definitely been, I have no idea what the heck country XK is, but we got a download from you guys over there. So kudos to you. Oh, Pat's back. So, Pat,
XK.
yeah,
Uh, I can't
um,
even think of too many countries that have the letter X in them.
it's just XK. That's what it says. It just
Huh.
so I just pulled up Podbean because I just want to let everybody know that we have, while we were off, we went from 36 subscribers to 44. So we had, some
Cool.
increase in
Thank
subscribers.
you.
And then I was just saying that I was pulling up stats for Podbean, letting people know like which platforms we're on for the audio version. And I reminded myself that I forgot to post that we are live today on our Facebook page, which I will do shortly. But with that being said, just pulling up stats that we are now past 13,000 downloads for our audio version, and that we had let me pull in, I just did the last 3 months, we had a day back in April where we had 89 downloads. We had 56 downloads the other day. Um, I think it was 56, but yeah, and I was just letting people know that are still an episode from 2021 that you weren't on, called Bass Thumping Rap Music, is still our most downloaded um audio podcast, and people are still downloading it now to listen to. And I was just
I
going
should, I
through.
should, I should in a way take offense to that. But I mean, I was not on that episode because that's when I was recovering, I think, from my initial thyroidectomy.
It probably was, I think.
Um, and again, it's a topic about which I know Eminem and Jay-Z and Tupac and Biggie. Yeah, it's like, so that'd be my extent of my
Yeah.
contributions to rap music.
So I was just kind of going through too, like the countries that have downloaded us. Like of course the US, but like we've had a lot of downloads from Vietnam, Hong Kong, Germany, Bangladesh, Brazil, Argentina, India, Iraq, Venezuela, Mexico, Singapore, Pakistan, Canada, just going on. Like we've had downloads from a lot of countries.
Yeah,
Like,
it's really kind of crazy to think about, but it's like it just goes to show how how like international the internet is and can make things. So
so
yeah,
in the past 14 days, we've had 83 downloads. July 6th was the top day with 57. And we do have spurts like that where, like, when I pull up the stats, we have it where in the past 14 days, like, we have this random day where we have like 20 plus downloads like that. And then the other days are like 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, 1, 0. But then we have like that one big download day. And like it seems like every week, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, we've been, and to be honest with you, since I was off, I think there's even an episode I still have to upload to here. But speaking of that, but yeah, I just want to appreciate everybody for, downloading. And just didn't know if you knew, Pat, but let me put. So I was letting the fans know that like we are on, Podbean has an app, their website you can download so you can listen to us on Podbean. But we're also on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music Podcast, and iHeartRadio. So we're on those major platforms as well. I don't know if there's a way for me to pull stats from the distribution portion. I have to find out. I'm not 100% sure. Um, but even with the podcast website through Podbean, like you can customize it. So I've customized it already. So it's like a specific setup for, our podcast on there. So um definitely some cool stuff in regards to that. But I'm just trying to see. I swear there was something else. Yeah, I just don't know if there's a way to pull like what our download stats are, say from like Spotify and whatnot. I have to probably dive into this a little bit more to see if Podbean gives me that, or I'm hoping it's not something where it's like I have to upgrade the version we have to, something else to get to those stats. But with that being said, like I said, kudos to thank you for the fans for coming out and showing support in regards to that. It's really awesome. Um, Getting some subscribers here, which is dope. Appreciate that as well. So with that being said, as we continue here, let me post to our Facebook page because I've been slacking, bro.
And for those of you out there who are wondering, do we take issue with Joe when he slacks off like this, when he doesn't do the tasks that he is meant to do and always does? And the answer, of course, is yes. We very much get annoyed. We very much get mad, and we sometimes resort to sending over a couple of guys with lead pipes.
Listen,
I mean, what they do, of course, is they show Joe those lead pipes and they say, this is what the piping in your house should look like. But we suspect that it does not. So don't make us replace your lead pipes with our good lead pipes so that we will have to beat you with the old rusty lead pipes, which will probably hurt more because you'll get all that rust on your knees then too. And that's just rust is hard to scrape off your body.
um, just a little bit. Yes, yes, it is, Pat. Yes, yes, it is.
Now, if you're like a new viewer and you're listening to me go off on a non sequitur like this, welcome. This is what I do frequently.
Oh, yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. You do that.
Part of
Um,
what makes me me and keeps the people listening, I guess. I hope.
okay, whatever you say.
I don't know.
Um,
What did I say something?
I don't know. Did you?
I really don't know either.
Mm-mm-mm. No, darn it. Now everything's freezing on me. What in the
Oh
blue?
dear.
It's okay.
I see that just as a real quick aside, uh AEW is doing a show at the end of the month in Montreal. Well, yeah, it's their next pay-per-view actually. I guess during the buy-in, they're going to do something to honor the Rougeos, which is cool. Because the Rougeos are very synonymous, of course, with Montreal wrestling.
Yes.
Now the cynic in me, of course, also says this is just another instance of Tony Khan acknowledging wrestling's history without, of course, ever fully understanding wrestling's history. But he could, of course, just do nothing. So the fact that he does acknowledge it is, I still think, a good thing. So.
I agree in regards to that. I definitely do. Now there was something yes, let me see how this works.
Listening to Cornette review their last pay-per-view when I was driving home from my sister's last weekend was quite funny. It was quite entertaining.
Was it?
Yeah. Yeah. Surprise, surprise, Cornette was not a fan of their show there.
Of course not.
Well, see, what was good about it is that Last actually balanced him out because Last said, there were several matches that he did like that were on that show, but he was also very critical of a few, particularly the Swerve Osprey match. So, um,
What was he
I,
critical about that for?
again, I knew you were probably going to ask that, and of course, I can't really remember because I was driving, so I was like, I wasn't retaining like every piece of information, but I think it more or less came down again to the fact that AEW, and this has always been one of my main criticisms of AEW, is that they book their matches, especially on their pay-per-views, I think is why do one thing when you can do everything? So they're basically saying there's like it's too much. Like they always say that their matches are too much, too long, too gimmicky, too many weapons, all kinds of stuff like that. And where you think, well, they're not critical of WWE like that. Well, yes, they are. I mean, again, I didn't watch the Blood Money show that just happened recently, but they both said, of course, they wanted to really like the a cage match between Seth and Braun, but they said they started whipping out weapons initially, and they said that immediately lowered the match in their view. So, you know,
Gotcha.
they
Yeah,
they are they are consistent in their criticisms as far as like things like that are concerned.
gotcha. Okay.
And when you think about it, again, that Braun Seth match was billed as a steel cage match. The rivalry between them has gone back to when Seth got injured last year and everything. So it's like it should have just been a goddamn cage match, but they can't seem to be content with booking just a cage match anymore. And that's no, nothing here. Trying to head off the Bark Fest. But
Yeah.
and that's kind of the problem. It's like nobody can just book a cage match. It's like again, we're gonna get Brock Oba Hell in a Cell in a couple weeks. What are the chances weapons won't be involved?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying with that. I do. I definitely do. Um,
Here's a bigger question then too. Will Brock Oba main event one night of SummerSlam?
you know, in here's the thing, like that's what I was kind of thinking about. You got they're in a Hell in a Cell. Are you gonna start the show? You gonna start a show off with Hell in a Cell? I mean, you can.
Yeah.
I the way Brock likes to work, he wants to be first or last. So that I
Hmm.
just really think since you have two title matches now, Seth Roman's going to be night two probably, and you're going to have Cody Punk night one to end the show for both shows. So you're going to have Brock versus Oba start either one or two. So I mean, I feel like that's the pencil in.
I'll be blatantly honest with you. Like, if this is definitely going to be Brock's last match, like if this is going to be his last match this time, I think I would have that match close one of the two nights. I really don't know which one though. And so then of course it's like, well, which one of the title matches closes the other night and which one doesn't? I would be honest with you. Cody Punk would close one of the nights and Seth Roman would not. That's just my 2 cents.
Um, you can have Cody and Punk start one of the shows.
You could, but I think people are going to be more invested in that than they are Seth Roman. That's
And
because I think with Seth Roman, there is a sense of we've seen this movie before. With Cody and Punk, not so much.
it's kind of a first time per se
Yeah,
in
like
this
I
atmosphere.
don't I don't even think they wrestled in AEW. So
Um,
you know,
no.
let me not rely on my memory, especially of an organization that I only watch on a cursory level. Did CM Punk wrestle Cody Rhodes in AEW?
I don't think so.
And it doesn't look like it because nothing is uh coming up. So yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things too, where like listen, I'm kind of on the same page as far as Seth versus Roman. I'm not into it right now. Maybe SummerSlam, I mean WrestleMania next year. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know when I'll be into it. I'm not invested in that match. We just seen those two go at each other um in multiple facets and in different types of storyline setups in the past several years or longer. I really also do not think that that match is going to have a clear one, two, three. I just
Which
don't.
one again? I'm sorry.
Seth versus Roman. I don't think we're going to
Yeah.
have a clear one, two, three. I think something's going to happen where someone's going to get a DQ win or something to that effect. I just don't see it being a clear cut one, two, three, unless there's some shenanigans from the bloodline that help Roman pin Seth Rollins. Logistically. Um, I don't know. I just don't know. And kind of segue into AEW because, me and AJ have talked about this. Like he wants, there's two things he wants. This match with Seth and Roman, which I'm not keen on. And the other thing too, as far as the AEW is concerned, Kenny Omega beat MJF for the title
Hmm.
on Wednesday night, right?
I remembered to turn that on at around 10 o'clock because I'm like, there's no way this show is ending at 10 o'clock,
No, no,
and
absolutely. It was a good match.
um it seemed I can't really I don't have too many criticisms of what I saw, other than maybe Osprey's little involvement. I'm not really sure the match needed that.
No, it didn't really.
Yeah, but um just as a real quick aside, so they ran that show out of Daly's place. I heard it was ungodly hot,
Yes. It was
and
outside.
that they
Yeah, it was hot as
and
hell.
that and that they ran out of water and soda at the concession stand, so they got to the point where the only kind of soft drink they had available was seltzer water.
I didn't hear about that.
I saw that online. So again, take that with a grain of salt, of course, because this wasn't a verified thing. But it's like if that's true, holy shit, man! You need to see. This is one of the reasons I can't really fully take AEW seriously. It's like they obviously don't have people that know how to run shit then, because it's like you're doing this show and this outdoor facility where you've run plenty of shows in the past, and you're doing it at the beginning of July when you know it's going to be ungodly hot in fucking northern Florida. I mean, come on, So, yeah, but like I said, take that for what it's worth as far as if that's true or not. I hope to God it's not, to be honest, because I hate to think that people are out there suffering. But yeah, that's pretty inexcusable to do something like that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I didn't hear about that. I'll have to look into that and for that. But here's the thing too. So, like the other match, bringing this one up, is that we're going to have an All In another Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay match. Now, when those two wrestle, do they put on great matches? 100%. It's kind of one of those things though, where it's the same thing. I have the same sentiment for seeing that match. Unfortunately, is the same sentiment I have for watching Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. I've seen every single Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega match they've ever had, from New Japan to the US. I feel like it's a nostalgia run in regards to this for
And
Omega.
they're already booking it like that in a lot of ways. Yeah.
Yes. So I feel like that it's a nostalgia thing. And it's one of those things where each company's in a different spot that I get, but it's kind of like I still feel that people don't respect or MJF's wrestling ability because MJF can wrestle. He had a great match with Kenny Omega. And it's like, yes, we know we're going to get a 5-star match from Omega and Ospreay. That's fine. I don't care. I want to see something a little bit different. I want to see MJF go against Will Ospreay. I want to see that match. And then I want to see Will Ospreay overcoming the heel using the diamond ring and all that shit to try to win for Will Ospreay. Because here's my thing. I understand, we can have a face versus a face because pretty much even though Will Ospreay's with the Dick Riders, where I just call them Dick Riders, that fucking faction's ridiculous. But that faction's kind of more like faces or tweeners right now, and they're helping
Well,
Will
they can't make up
Ospreay.
their mind as to what they are.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like Will Ospreay still a face? Like you can't turning Ospreay like heel right now is not going to work. It's just bad timing for if they would try. And it's bad timing, just like if they would try to do that, like WWE trying to make Cena turn heel at the wrong time. But nonetheless, um,
Austin turning heel at WrestleMania 17,
yeah,
turns heel in his home state.
it's one of those things where we're assuming that Ospreay's going to win the title in the home country. You know what I mean? So for me, let's put that against let's have that win against a heel that likes to cheat, likes to use the diamond ring, likes to do whatever it takes to win a match to keep his, triple B, whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
But now we're gonna get a nostalgia match with Kenny Omega, which I'm watching the match nonetheless. I'm not gonna turn it off, of course, because I like both guys, but it's just kind of like I don't know. I understand nostalgia. I think there's a time and place for it. I don't know. Some people think it's now for a Kenny. I don't know. And just kind of like, well, we can have that match with, Kenny and Ospreay next year during one of the main pay-per-views. I was like, why do we have to wait till next year? Like, we had this, we could have a big setup for that this year. I think this year would have been a great time for it, you know?
right.
And then,
See,
if you want to do a nostalgia thing, let Ospreay win the title from MJF and then insert Kenny Omega into that. And then let them have like Kenny Omega's going on his little turd to get some matches, win some contender matches, the face Will Ospreay for the title at one of their pay-per-views. I don't know.
yeah,
That's just my thinking in regards to it, honestly.
yeah. I think it means more for a face to vanquish the dastardly heel.
And still today, it still makes sense. The basics still make sense in
Yeah,
pro wrestling. All
right.
the other fluff and bullshit that all the promotions do, not just
Mhm.
not one, all of them do it. TNA, all of them, MLW, New Japan, whatever. Not so much New Japan, but nonetheless, they all do it to a certain extent. Like that gets the fans to buy in. The fans are buying into the Kenny Omega verse Offspray because of their
Which give us
history
more.
with New Japan and stuff like that. But on the same time, there's a lot of people who don't know that history with those two in New Japan.
Yes, and that is the mistake that AEW always makes. They always assume that their audience knows the full history.
And it's only the hardcore
Look, not
fans that don't because their casual fans have been increasing gradually. So unless those commentators are fucking talking about at Wrestle Kingdom 17, Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match. They did this, and this. Show a fucking clip of it.
I'm really mad at you.
That's what they need to do. Like, if you
Yeah,
want to get the casual fan to understand, because that audience has been increasing, and kudos to them for that. But they still have their hardcore fans, but they're the only ones who know, like me. I've watched New Japan for fucking over 10 years. I had a subscription. I still do technically. It's like $7 a month. But nonetheless, I've had a subscription to that shit for over 10 years to watch all their content live and recorded stuff. Not everyone has, even though the internet's accessible, there's still shit in New Japan that you got to search for. You got to find it because New Japan's not readily posting everything except on their website. And some people don't want to do, translate the website in the American into English, nonetheless. But your commentary team has to do a good job and they have the people to do that. I just don't think, for a production standpoint, they're doing that to make that match mean more than what it is. Like
yeah,
you're gonna build it up because of what they've done within AEW and Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, and you're gonna talk about their overseas stuff, but you're not really gonna dive deep into their overseas. They can prove me wrong. They can create something on next couple weeks in the beginning of a Dynamite where they have a sit down with both of them or do some shit, and then they start showing highlights from their matches from New Japan. Great. okay, then they finally proved me wrong and they actually did that. But until I see that, that's what they really need. That's what they really need to do to make that match more than what it is, considering the fact that it's kind of face versus face.
Yeah. So again, I think the face beating the heel still means more than the face beating the face. I mean, like other than say like Ultimate Warrior beating Hulk Hogan, like when was the last time that you can think of a face taking the title off of another face really meant that much? And I'm not going to use Rock over or Austin over Rock at WrestleMania 17 as an example of that because while they were both faces going into the match, Austin obviously turned heel at the end of the match, so that doesn't really apply.
And
Like,
I
okay,
mean,
here's one.
we're getting
When Daniel Bryan beat John Cena for the title at SummerSlam, only to lose it moments later because of the authority shit and everything.
yep.
Um, and obviously it was the story that they built up. It ended up meaning a hell of a lot more than when Daniel Bryan won that title at WrestleMania from the heels Orton and Batista,
Yep.
than it did from when he won the title from Cena at SummerSlam. So, um,
And I mean,
you know,
look, we're getting in August too. We're getting a face versus face title, Cody versus Punk.
well,
I,
we're getting two because in their minds Roman is still a face right now, even though he's to
oh
me
yeah, true. I mean,
he's really not.
and Seth is kind of like on the face run, sort of right now. And I'm gonna be
He
honest,
basically is. The problem is he still kind of acts like an idiot. So
he
it's like Seth is almost like perpetually a tweener now.
yeah, he kind of is. And here's the thing, like I went back, I don't know why I did this to myself, but I went back and watched that promo that he did the other night. And when LA Knight came in then,
Well, that was the thing. I was actually sorry to interrupt. I didn't see the Seth Roman promo from the week before, but when I read
which
it,
was good.
I was kind of nodding along and saying this makes sense. It's like you
Yep.
may not like that this is how they're booking it, but I said, but it makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
And then Seth comes out at the beginning of Monday night, and within 2 seconds of being in the ring, he's back to "I'm a visionary, I'm a revolutionary," and you know how I hate that, so I muted the rest of the promo.
Well, the thing about the promo was is like he turned into a whiny bitch. Like he was just his promo was like the whiny, complaining little bitch, like heel promo, where
Right.
he's complaining about stuff, this, that, and that, how this made him mad. And like I get the storytelling to a certain extent, but it went for on and on and on. And the promo was too long. Two, he bitched way too much on that. It should have been shorter. And three, the other mistake he did is he let the crowd do it to him twice. Once with the CM Punk chants and twice with the second time with the OTC chants. Like you have to understand you're in Chicago. When you acknowledge the crowd, don't give them a second to start chanting for CM Punk. Go right into your shtick right away, because otherwise you're going to have to do that. And then
He should know that better.
he let it happen again when he brought up Roman Reigns, and like he let the crowd settle on OTC chants. You don't want to let them do that in regards to that. The
Well,
the
it's
the only part that
they've
made
all
me
been given it. I was gonna say, I almost think they've all been given a directive to not try to talk over any crowd chants when they get too loud. And I'm like, well, I think sometimes you have to because that'll be the
yeah,
easiest way to stop the crowd chants,
yeah,
especially if you don't want the crowd to be chanting.
you don't want the crowd to be overtaking any part of your promo in that type of manner. And when LA Knight came out, I'm like, all right, what's Knight gonna do? LA Knight's promo was very up and down as well. The only part of that whole fucking promo that made me laugh is when LA Knight started doing the hey brother, you're great, brother. Hey brother, let's go get a haircut together, brother. Hey brother, let's get the same haircut, brother. Hey brother, let's have the same beard type, brother. That shit made me fucking laugh. That was hysterical to me
I
when
may have to go back and watch that part of it then.
he was making fun of them for like the same haircut, the same beard, shit like that. That made me laugh.
Yeah.
Some people didn't like that, but I'm like, you know,
Call
and
a spade a spade.
yeah, and it is, there's some parts of, LA Knight's promo where he was kind of talking about he was hyping himself up, which like how truthful is that? Not as truthful as he was making it, but the crowd was still eating it up. So it is what it is. Kind of like a false truth is what he was kind of stating in his promo, which the fans were eating up. But Yeah, that was probably the downer promo for that night for me. It was
Hmm.
was that promo with those two guys.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's kind of like nitpicking per se, and someone who's I don't know, maybe that's the type of promo he wanted for a specific reason. I don't know. I'm not sure the mindset of Seth in regards to that. No one knows, but
No, I mean, I think what one of my biggest complaints always has been with Rollins has been the inconsistency with him. You know, it's like you never quite know where he's coming from or what he's going to get. And this doesn't have anything to do with being a visionary or a revolutionary. It has everything to do with bad booking
and I think the thing
or bad promo writing, whether it's the writers or it's him. You know, it's like,
I think too, it's one of those things where I think with certain wrestlers, and even the guys who are great on the mic, there are certain wrestlers who can cut really good promos on a consistent basis without their opponent in the ring with them having a back and forth promo. And there's guys that are can do that as well, but they're inconsistent with it, but they're also better when their opponent is in the ring with them and they're cutting a promo on each other at the same time. And Seth Rollins is a good promo. He's definitely above average, but sometimes he gets a little inconsistent when he doesn't have the opponent in the ring with him. So like he had a good promo with Roman, and then he goes from a great promo with Roman to a subpar promo with LA Knight with his long rant and whining, bitching, and complaining. So, a little bit of inconsistencies. And even the top guys are a little inconsistent at times because you can't have a great promo every single fucking time you go out to that ring.
yeah.
So, it's just the nature of the business. It's not that easy. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, off in tangent with some of this stuff, but the matches are set for both companies. And as far as title matches, another thing too is, and I told AJ this, like my biggest issue is like, I understand if they wanted Sami Zayn to win the title at Saudi Arabia, fine. Um, them putting the belt on him, knowing damn well they were about to take the belt off him within however many days it was. Um, I don't like the transitional championship. I've never been a big fan of that stuff. But the only way this really works for Sammy of him losing this belt is if he fully turns heel. And Kevin Owens seems to be almost back to be cleared from his injury. So if you're going to do this, in my opinion, you really need to turn. You're going to give the belt to Sammy and take it off of him. And considering the fact the person that took the belt off of him is already has a built-in story right there because of who he is. Um, I already saw on social media where people were like Drew and Becky and Seth and Logan Paul and even fucking Jack Perry and somebody else from AEW chimed in, like referencing the 2014 part-timer shit Punk put a promo on to like now, which is just false bullshit. But they're playing into the we hate Punk thing, which I get. It's fine, but just be a little bit more specific with your material than pulling that because that actually doesn't work for the situation nonetheless. Um, but it's just to the fact where it's like, if you're going to do that, have Sammy turn heel, make this the breaking point where Sammy turns heel, everyone's against them, and have Kevin Owens come back as a heel, and him and Sammy go on like this heel tour, trying to take down the people that be, that have held them down or some storyline. Who the fuck knows? But do something in regards to that. Don't just let Sammy win the title, have him lose it, you know, post a video after the show complaining, bitching, whining about it, and don't do anything moving forward. That's where sometimes I think they fumble, they drop the ball with that, storylines. But
Yeah. I got into a couple stupid exchanges this week on cage side seats with some people.
oh, some of these
Um,
wrestling sites, I unfollowed like four of them on Facebook
yeah,
because some
I,
of the
I
people they have post writing for these websites are fucking idiots.
yeah,
They're just trolls.
I mean, you mentioned Jack Perry, and there was talk about like Jack Perry's contract being up. Stop it,
Yeah, which I
whiner.
think which I think it is up soon.
yeah, like anybody who thought that he was going to go to WWE was trying to just push for clicks, I think, because I don't see how WWE would have any interest in him, and I don't see how he would have any interest in going to WWE, you know?
You know what?
Um,
You know, when I saw Jack Perry post that, I'm thinking to myself, you know what? Turn Sammy heel, bring Kevin Owens back heel, and then sign Jack Perry and put him with those two.
well, see, this is my thing. I'm like, they could sign
And put
Jack
them on a
Perry and
Crusade storyline.
they could sign Jack Perry and they could make him do a program with Punk. But then what? Jeez, house making noise. But then what value would he have to the company after the program with Punk would be over?
Nothing.
None. None.
I know.
No, I think my sister is home.
And they're not gonna Jack Perry's not gonna win that battle for his Punk anyway.
Right. Now, fundamentally, I don't have a problem with Punk winning the title on Raw in Chicago. But the circumstance of which was just dumb. It's like they have Sammy win the title at the Blood Money show, and then it's 9 days later he loses it to Punk in Chicago, and when the match was originally supposed to be Sammy Cody again. Um, yeah. Um,
It just makes me wonder who's gonna hold who's I'm gonna be honest
well,
with
if
you.
you want, I'm just saying, if you wanted to put the title back on Punk, you could have just had him beat Cody for it at SummerSlam. You didn't need to do this whole thing with Sammy.
They could have done so, and I know here's the thing. This is something a little bit different from the norm that they did in this storyline. Because on the flip side, you could be like, well, the two could have had the match. Gunther could have came down and been pissed off about X, Y, and Z. And then boom, Punk's music hits, Punk comes down, gets Gunther out of there, and then Cody ends up winning the title, and Sammy's still disgruntled about it. You still could have done that, but like then it's kind of like the same thing. Well, we always see run-ins, we always see interference, we always see some type of shenanigans. So they felt like going the other route as let's take Cody out and let's replace him with Punk and let's put the story like who's gonna fight Sammy at the end of the night, although we all know who it's gonna be. Um, and then have the title. So my thing now is like I'm gonna be honest. I've been thinking about this. I don't know who's going to win that match. They could keep the belt on Punk for a bit, or they can give it right back to Cody. Or is this the
I
time? Is this a time where we start kind of like leaning towards turning Cody heel? Because I'm gonna be honest with you right now, turning Punk heel is not going to do anything for them because those fans will cheer the fuck out of him as a heel too.
yeah. I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, it's like one of the arguments I got into this week was somebody saying that Punk's return was out of nowhere. I'm like,
No, it's
they were in
not.
Chicago. Come on,
It's not out of nowhere. He wrestled
you
at
had to know.
WrestleMania.
You had to know that he was going to show up at some point during the night. As soon as they did the whole thing where Cody's out of the match, you had to know that Punk was going to be there. It's like, so don't give me this out of nowhere shit.
And the
He's like,
thing
he's
about
like,
it is,
he's like, well, he wasn't announced. I'm like, well, that's not out of nowhere. That's unannounced. So I mean,
no,
yes,
there's a
I'm splitting
difference.
semantics here, but come on.
And then people forget about promos that happened months ago, where the Monday night after fucking WrestleMania, you know, Punk cuts the promo. Sometimes you never know down the road, title shots might fall from the skies into your lap, blah, blah, blah. And what happened? Duh. People forget about promos too. You only want to
Yeah,
remember the ones they want.
they'll forget about the specifics when it's convenient for their narrative and everything. So,
Correct.
but I totally agree with you that I don't think now, and again, apologies if you hear the dogs.
Oh, that's fine. I don't hear them. So,
Um, you're gonna hear him in a second as soon as the door opens. But yeah, turning Punk heel isn't gonna work.
mm-mm.
There we go. There we go.
I still don't hear them.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
Get down.
sister of Pat. Your dogs were well behaved.
right in front of me.
And they were on
Hold on
camera.
a second. I'm sorry.
Let's be silent for now. Talk and whisper. We don't want to let them know that Pat abused the dogs. I actually don't know if he put me on mute, if he can still hear me or not. As I'm engaging with you guys. Maybe he's turned down the volume so I can't be heard. I don't know. No, Pat's moving. He's getting up. He's going to relocate himself to his bedroom, the dungeon. Pat does weird things in this Darth dungeon bedroom. Just letting you fans know, just in case. He just doesn't want you guys to know about it. That's all. No, I'm gonna put a poll on our website to see if you guys want to see Pat with the same goatee setup that he's had for, his whole life, or if he needs to go to a full-on beard, because I think that's what he needs to do. Yep, yep. I'm putting a poll up and get your fans input on this. I know I see a wagging tail. That's not going to like this poll that I post, but he's going to have to deal with it. And he's on the move. That's walking up them stairs like the Jolly Green Giant he is. Ooh, into his Darth cave. Darth cave of the bedroom. Baby wipes and oil in the background. It's like I'm kidding. Oh no, yes, get comfy. Oh no, gotta get in this chair.
Okay, that was fun. Um, yeah, the lighting is terrible. I get it kind of more closer to normal, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah, my sister and brother-in-law came home, and so they started flipping out, and then my sister chose to demonstrate to me how uh she can get the dogs howling.
That's always grand.
Yeah, and they certainly were. Uh, oy.
Whatever. No, no, no. But yes, as you were saying,
Anyway, so yeah, this is the thing. You
it,
mentioned like the people criticizing Punk online, and again, there was a ton of it, and there was all that CM Hogan stuff.
oh God, that drove me
People,
crazy. You know what? And I think the only reason they did that is because when Hogan was on the top turnbuckle, he did the whole ear thing, which kind of surprised me. He did anything regarding anything required to Hogan, but nonetheless, he did it. And then all of a
yeah,
sudden, after the
Punk was not
show,
Punk. Yeah, Punk was not a Hogan fan, so it was like, but um, say, look, this isn't WrestleMania 9 in the least. And it's like
and
not even close to this being WrestleMania 9. So
and,
so
and
so
let's
don't
let's
so,
not
so don't
forget.
so don't give me that.
Let's not forget that Hogan wasn't going to say no at that time, but this is more of a Vince McMahon. This is more of a Vince McMahon change than the Hogan thing. Vince
Yeah,
McMahon's like, this is what I'm going to do, and Hogan's like, okay.
right,
You're going to tell Hogan he's not going to say, yeah, I don't want the title back. Just keep it on Brett, blah 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 blah, or Yokozuna.
right,
No, he's
right.
yeah.
And
Come on
and,
now.
and and do you really think Punk has enough power in this day and age
No,
to say, I'm not going to come back unless you're going to put the title back on me? Come on. I mean, it's so dumb in so many ways. But
the new era, it's different. Like it's more a collaboration. Like this is you listen, we know how things run in the background because we've heard the podcast stories, but then with the whole Netflix series of Unreal, we see the room where they're all talking about who should go over, give us reasons why, this, then the next thing. And we see how things were written down how they wanted and how things changed.
yeah,
So
I mean, but don't. Well, all I'll say to that is don't go believing that any of that is completely spontaneous or
But
unplanned.
but
You
yeah, I'm
know,
not saying that that's 100%, but that's a tidbit into seeing like what they're doing and what they want to do, and then they're going to go to both those wrestlers and be like, hey, we want you're going over for this because you're going to do this, and then you're going to get input. Now, how much input is going to be as far as yes, no, maybe so, or maybe I should go over instead of him because we can do this A, B, C, D for this. Who knows? There's probably still that, but at the end of the day, I still think Triple H is it's kind of like I heard you guys, but this is where we're going. Now,
hmm
you guys talk and figure out how the match is going to go. You know,
yeah. I mean, he still has to make the final call, really. So,
yeah, he's the one making
um,
the ultimate decision of what's going to
yeah,
happen.
yeah. But now, so like I talked up with Brian Alvarez saying in storyline, Punk has become all the things that he railed against, and I'm like,
I fucking
look,
hate
look,
that narrative.
right, I do too, because it's not like Punk wasn't working a full-time schedule before he took again, it ended up being like a 2.5 month break. But you could argue there was nothing for him to do during those 2.5 months. They're like, all right, you were champion
There
for a while,
wasn't.
you were on a grueling schedule, just go rest up, just take it easy. And it's not like they don't have enough people on the card,
He was just on
to not
TV
do this with.
after he was just on fucking TV after coming back from an injury for
Hmm.
how fucking long? Like consistently for the most
Yeah.
part, being on TV for that extended period of time, winning the title, doing the whole programs, fighting those matches, and then fighting Roman Reigns. Yeah. So after WrestleMania, Roman Reigns wasn't wrestling right away. He was doing promo. Then he has match where it's Jacob. But like, how many times has he fucking wrestled since WrestleMania?
Hmm. Yeah.
With the
So
title. He's been taking it. He hasn't been showing up on a consistent basis, even though he's like, I'll be here all summer long. Yeah, no, you haven't.
yeah.
And I
So
don't care
well,
for
so,
the reasons why. You can't say you will be and then you don't. So
so I
him
think
being
Alvarez
gone for
was
two and
making
a
the
half
point
months
that
is fine.
I think Alvarez was making the point that you can use this as an excuse to turn Punk heel. And that is true.
You can, but it's not going to work.
Right. This is my concern. I
Somebody
don't
else needs to
think
be heel.
I don't think people are as sick of Cody as some on the internet want you to believe. I
Correct.
think Cody still gets a pretty good, pretty genuine face response from the crowd.
Hmm.
But there are certain people that when you match him up against, he's not going to get more cheers than that person. And Punk is one of them. And it's like, you might say, well, you can't really base that on Monday. They're in Chicago. Right. But we have Friday when where the hell were they?
They were in the Midwest, but it's definitely a different state.
Right. I would say Cody got more cheers than, or I'm sorry, I would say Punk got more cheers than Cody did.
Yep.
So turn Punk heel against Cody at your own risk because Punk will still get cheered more. I firmly believe that. So,
Listen, Punk can wrestle. Just to say Punk wrestles till say it's 2026 already. So say 2028 is Punk's last year, right?
mhm.
You
Yeah, it could
can't
be because
turn
he'll be pushing 50.
you can't turn him heel anytime from now till say 2028
That's the
because
thing. It's like
him
I
turning
kind
heel
of want to.
will not do anything because
Right,
he'll be one of the most cheered fucking heels in WWE.
right. It's like
And they're all going to cheer for him to win every single fucking match against every single face that he goes against.
I kind of want to see Punk as a heel right now, but there's two problems. One is what you were just saying. I think that what Punk's been since he came back, I mean, it hasn't even quite been 3 years, but it was a little like when Shawn Michaels came back in 2002. The crowd never wanted to boo him because he had
No,
been gone for so long. And Punk was gone for a lot longer than Michaels was.
But the crowd never wanted to boo Michaels. The only time they even tried to turn Michaels heel during his entire second run was when they matched him up with Hogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the only time. So while I think Punk can still definitely be an effective heel, I don't think the crowd wants to boo him, number one. And number two, who do you have him turn heel against? Who's the great baby face for him to work with that's going to bring out the best in the heel Punk? I mean, theoretically, it could be Cody, but again, I just said that Punk's going to get cheered more than Cody. It really can't be Roman because Punk would kind of embarrass Roman on the mic. I mean, Roman's a lot better than he once was, but Punk's still going to run circles around Roman on the
It's
mic.
it's
And it
so
can't be and it can't be Seth because Seth, when you come right down to it, can be very unlikable. So who's that great baby face in that company right now for Punk to turn heel against? It's not there in my view.
yeah, and the thing with like the whole Punk versus Roman, even at WrestleMania, I still think that Roman probably got a little bit more cheers at Mania than Punk did. But then at the same time, you have two
They were
faces.
in a tourist city though.
Yeah. But you have and you have two faces too. You know what I mean? They technically were faces
Hmm.
going against each other. And the thing about it is like, yeah, we've seen heel Roman, but at the same time, like who's a better heel? Roman or Punk? Like, one can up the ante just a tad bit more, where if you would have those two face each other again and Punk is the heel, that crowd, no matter what neutral site it is, I think he will get more cheering out of Punk than he will for Roman at that aspect. But yeah,
Hmm.
like the logistics is like besides Cody, who is a true face that's gonna be you can put Punk against to have a good program. They don't have anybody. They really don't. You can make the
I mean,
case for a
it's
whole bunch of people, but the cases for the cases you can make for 5 to 10 wrestlers, we probably can come up with more against those guys for it not working than for it will working. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, well, this is the thing. Their roster right now, again, it's like it's long on numbers and it's short on top talent, and they really have nobody to blame but themselves for that because and I was saying this to AJ, it's like other than Seth and Roman, Cody and Punk, and maybe Gunther. I mean, Brock's in his own category. Um, there's nobody that they seem willing to embrace to put to the next level. They're kind of doing it with Ova right now, and that's great, really, because they need to get them, but they haven't done it with LA Knight,
Nope.
and they seem reluctant to ever do it. They never really did it with Kevin Owens or Sami Zayn.
And they
So
won't.
they've had flirtations, I guess you could say, with the main event level, but that's kind of it. Um, they've done it with Drew, but they've also shown with the same thing, kind of like with LA Knight. They've shown a lack of willingness to fully embrace Drew as being the guy, and it's like I'm afraid that Drew's legacy is always going to be he was the guy that put the title on during COVID,
Yeah.
you know, which obviously he was winning that title before COVID, but
And
that's
he had
what ended up
and,
happening.
and he had a great heel run going
Yeah,
against Punk,
yeah,
which he is a good heel, a very good
yeah,
heel.
yeah. But and then it's like Orton you can't really count anymore, and he obviously completely disappeared since WrestleMania, which was probably for the best, but because of how bad that program with him and Cody ended up being. Um, but it's like they try it with Jey Uso, and I think they've gone as far with Jey Uso as they can, as far as being like a single wrestler. Like I don't think he's ever going to be up to the next level as it is. So like who else are they supposed to do? Well, Braun Breaker obviously, needs to be. Uh Trick and Carmelo, I think could be. And I'll be really interested to hear Cornette's take on that match that they had on Friday night because he's been mocking Carmelo ever since like, he was picked so high the last time they did like the draft and everything. And he never seemed to want to give Carmelo the time of day, but he likes Trick. And say, I thought Trick and Carmelo having a pretty good match, and I definitely, and because
Yeah.
like I had to like go watch the dogs for a while on Friday night, And I was like, but I wanted to see the show. So I turned the show on and I put it on, but I forgot to hit record before it started. So I just had to leave my TV on while I was downstairs. And then I rewound it. So I'm like, okay, so I caught Punk's promo and blah blah blah. And then I caught up and I wanted to see that match. And then
Baron
I,
Corbin.
I'm glad they're not doing this thing with Baron Corbin being Danhausen's Frankenstein monster. I'm glad they're not doing that.
Yes.
And to be honest, Corbin didn't look bad,
No. He
but
is
I did not want to see him interrupt that match.
no. Corbin's been wrestling for MLW for a while now.
Yes, I understand. I understand that.
And he was in a tag team with a former WWE guy. And I can't remember his name. He was on NXT, a big guy too. They were tag champs. He won a couple other titles. So he's done very well for himself outside of WWE and getting his character, as being a heel, a good heel. So I've seen his work. It's been good.
Hmm.
I'm gonna kudos to him, like seriously. But yeah, like you're going to, what are we doing? We're bringing him back. He's interrupting that match, and whoever wins at SummerSlam, say it's Trick Williams, we're gonna have Trick Williams versus Baron Corbin. Is that the new program? And then Carmelo's
I almost have a feeling they might do a triple threat between Trick, Carmelo, and Corbin at SummerSlam. We'll see. But
it could be. And then what do? Take Carmelo Hayes goes in a program then, like a one-on-one versus Starks. I mean, I
right,
don't know. His
yes,
his flame has kind of floundered since he's come up to the main roster for whatever reason.
yeah. But so it just goes. It's like it's still like trying to guess who are your next main eventers because they won't move on from the current main eventers, but they also won't have the current main eventers work with any non-main eventers.
And we can't
You're
rely on
getting you
Randy Orton. Randy Orton's been out for a while, and
right.
injury or
You're
not,
almost getting into a situation where it's like we're watching WCW from 1995 to 1998 or 9,
yeah,
and we know the only guys that we're going to see in the main event are going to be Hogan, Sting, Savage, Nash, Hall, Piper,
DDP.
the Giant, and DDP. Yeah, and Luger. But
I
other
mean,
than that, it's like who
you
else?
have Javon Evans too, but
Nobody else has ever in the main event. Where has Javon been? Is
I
he hurt?
know I don't. I have to look. I don't know.
I'm
Like
like,
Javon
because I
hasn't.
swear I haven't seen him now for a few weeks.
He hasn't been on TV. He's another one. His skinniness is kind of I don't want to say a downside, but it's a small downside to him being elevated a little bit more. So
Yeah, it makes
that
you think
heavy,
that they're always. It makes you think they're always going to put a ceiling on him because he is thin. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So that's what I'm a little worried about with him, but we'll see. And I mean, I don't know. I
I
don't
mean
know.
they're doing I think some interesting things in the mid card right now, but you also know that those guys are never going to be more than mid card guys. Like love Chad Gable, but they're never putting Chad Gable in the main event.
No. And you got
You know,
Penta. Penta's really good too, but he's kind of a little bit more on the older side as well.
and
Um,
they're never going to put Penta in the main event because English is his second language.
yeah.
He's gotten better with cutting English promos, but it's still just not going to be natural for him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In the mid
Yeah.
card, it seems to be pretty decent in regards to, the people they have down there right now and fighting for the US title, the IC title, and some of the storylines seem to be, on more of a positive note in regards
Yeah.
to that. But
And meanwhile, the women's division has fallen to shit because of injuries.
dude, injuries and just inconsistent, like I don't know, man. Like
It's amazing. No, but
Liv
it is
versus
simply
EO, like we have to do Liv versus EO for the title. Like playing
it
it
is
safe there, playing it safe,
but it's simply amazing how
relying on
directionless
veterans.
how the women's division on both shows has been just because of injuries to Stephanie and Rhea. Because again, it's like you have a lot of numbers and you have a lot of really good talent, but it seems again like you didn't know what to do with any of them. And it's like that to me is inexcusable.
Like I'm sorry, I'm not nothing again. Like where's Becky been? I know a lot of people like her, a lot of people don't. But where's Becky been? What are we doing with Lyra and Bailey? Like, we're turning Lyra heel. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
Lyra turned heel on Bailey, and how much have they been on the show the last couple of weeks since
Like
that happened?
what they did, like they did a pre-tape promo with Bailey on Monday night. Like that was like, okay, we're talking about it, but we're not on the show doing it
You
anymore.
have a two nights. You have a two-night SummerSlam. You need to have a singles match between the two of them at SummerSlam.
Yeah, that needs to happen ASAP. Like, what do we like? I know we saw Jade, but Jade's there. Charlotte, come on, we got Charlotte here.
And
We
what was that they were doing with Alexa? That was weird. It was like that
fucking no clue.
they were trying to Pillmanize her arm, but they did it very oddly.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue what they were doing with that. Like, I
So,
feel we're gonna get Jade versus Charlotte at SummerSlam. I feel like that's a
which
foregone
I think,
conclusion.
which again, I think is fine. Again, it's certainly from a star power angle.
Yeah.
And again, I do feel like Jade has gotten better. The problem is, again, she's still not great or maybe even good.
Yeah, I
So let's
mean,
see so let's see what Charlotte can get out of her.
the last couple singles matches she's had, I've seen glimpses of better. I, I've seen a little bit more out of her, better in-ring work, less moments of not really knowing what's going on next. A little bit more fluidity in regards to the match, but it's small steps. But I mean, it's definitely something. Now, let's see what happens with Charlotte, because sometimes Charlotte's don't fuck up in the ring. Because she is not one that's going to want to don't do something if you're not going to do it properly or take a move properly, because she will get pissed if she gets fucking hurt, and rightfully so. Um,
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like Charlotte ain't gonna take no guff, you know?
well, I mean, and we'll see. Yeah, the women's
Yeah,
division, I've seen like they're playing it safe with certain veterans in some of their
yeah.
matches. So I don't know.
Oh, and it's funny too. Again, you mentioned Io, and I still like Io, but I still hate the
Yeah,
I can't stand that. I know Brian Last can't stand that, and now it's getting to the point where he's getting like super annoyed by it. But then the problem is
it doesn't bother me, honestly.
Cornette Cornette hates Io so much, and I'm like, is it because she's Japanese? Is it because she's a woman who's not Rhea or Charlotte or um I guess we can throw Becky in there, but who's the other one that he likes a lot?
I can't remember.
I can't remember now.
Chelsea?
No, I don't think he said anything bad about Chelsea, but it's like because he's so dismissive of women's wrestling. Again, it's one of the things that really annoys me because it's like, all right, now they're going to talk about women's wrestling, so I know I'm going to say he either didn't watch the match or he's just going to bitch about something. But he just hates it, and it's like, or is it because she's a Japanese woman? I'm like, yeah, it's probably that. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's like again, Io is good enough in the ring that yeah, even with the stupid like head pointing shit, it's like I really think you could get past that to just appreciate what she does in the ring, but. I don't know. He's just got it in for her, and that's a little annoying too. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. We get what we get from these wrestling feds right now. And again, I freely admit, like I turned on AEW the other night because I had a feeling Kenny was going to win the match, and so I just wanted to see how they were going to do it. But I just don't watch AEW because I just can't be entertained by it. But WWE again, they make their shows so unwatchable. With the ads, with the
You need to start
entrances.
watching TNA. AMC Thursday nights.
I've heard TNA sucks too, so
Really? I like it.
yeah. Um, so I gotta bring this up then. SummerSlam is in 3 weeks, 2 nights. Are we going to live cast?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. I believe we shall.
Do you think we can make sure the third wheel is here?
If the third wheel will not be here, he's suspended
Well,
indefinite.
because I mean, I had a couple interruptions today, of course. thanks to doggies. Um, that pretty much proves why we need him here. So if I get interrupted by these darn dogs as they're still getting used to life here, the show can still at least go on with you and Jeremy talking to each other.
I mean, I didn't mind talking to the fans, but it's all good. I get what you're saying. Yes, we will double check with Mr. Jeremy. And then, I'll reach out to Shane and see if he would like to join us on
Oh
either
yes,
one
yes,
of
Shane is
those
always welcome.
nights if he's able to. Both show. It's a good old Summer Slammers.
Jeremy spoken yesterday. I can't believe
Uh,
that song is 35 years old now.
oh, dude, I know there's a lot of things like this here. So yesterday we
Yeah, okay, no, here we go. You know how old Pearl Jam's Jeremy is?
hmm,
It's old enough to run for president now.
there you go. There you go. Just like so yesterday went to the downtown Raleigh area. They had there was a deli place that I found on social media that I want to try their food. And then there was like some street festival thing going on in downtown Raleigh on Fayetteville Street. There was a band playing and like vendors out there, different sorts. And I got myself a nice big cup, bro, of freshly made peach lemonade. It was really good. They had a bunch of flavors. The $10 I paid for it, it was definitely worth it. It was really good. And walked around and then went to the deli for lunch and a late lunch and whatnot. But in the center, there was a whole bunch of people there, and I was like, "What's going on?" And we heard people like talking about Pokemon. And I was like, "Oh, is there like a big Pokemon Go thing going on?" So we both open our apps, and it's besides Pokemon being this year the 30th anniversary, it's the 10th anniversary of the game Pokemon Go. So they were doing like there had all these big raids going on this weekend, I guess, and like people were downtown last week were downtown yesterday, and everyone's like, "Hey, we're joining the Mewtwo raid to get the Mewtwo evolution." So people were going in, and I went in and mega evolved my Charizard to help me get the Mewtwo evolution going there. I was like, I wanted to make it easy as possible because he had a 99,000 HP, health rating. Definitely challenging to win, even if you have 20 people with no Pokemon that are mega evolved. It's very challenging to get that victory, but nonetheless, I was able to do it and I got myself a cool mega evolved Mewtwo. But nonetheless, that was going on. So like, Pokemon Go's 10th anniversary and Pokemon 30th anniversary, Space Jam 30th anniversary. Target had shit for Space Jam this year for that movie coming out and just some other things that like happened in 96 besides me graduating 30 years ago, which is insane that
Oh, yeah,
you know,
my older sister graduated high school 30 years ago. Yeah.
yep, a lot of stuff happened in 96. That was like, took place
Oh,
30 years ago.
okay. Well, okay. Yeah. So for me, talk about like 30th anniversary is 1996. All right. So we were just talking about wrestling. Well, last month we hit the 30th anniversary of Austin 316 says I just whooped your ass.
And
Just this past week was the 30th anniversary of Bash at the Beach
Bash at
with
the
the
Beach.
Hogan heel turn and the formation of the NWO.
96 was a good year, bro.
96. I mean, Yankees won the World Series for the first time in my lifetime in
Bulls won the NBA
1996. So
championship in
yeah,
96.
yeah. So you got the 30th anniversary of that. Those things. The Regal Cinemas at Northampton Crossings opened in the fall of 1996 when it was originally Magic Cinemas, but then Regal bought it out. I want to say like within like the first year or so that it opened. But that was so cool to have that multiplex there in Northampton Crossings, only like 5 or 6 miles down the road from where I live. Because prior to that, if I wanted to go see a movie, I would have to go out to the old General Cinemas that was at Lehigh Valley Mall, or we'd have to go to the old United Artists Theater that was on Third Street in Easton, which could be iffy with trying to park to, or we go to the 25th Street theater that used to be there, which I think was an AMC, or we had got to go up to the Wing Gap Theater, which at the time my dad hated going to because he always said there was like a rip in the screen, which they didn't fix for years and shit. So it was really cool having that multiplex just a few miles down the road. And I remember seeing like Ransom and Star Trek First Contact. They came out in the fall of 1996.
The Winter
Uh,
Olympics in '96 was the 100th anniversary in the U.S. in Atlanta.
yeah, there
Nintendo
you go.
64 was released.
Yeah, oh yeah.
The
Um,
USB drive was introduced in 1996.
wow, that's pretty significant. Yeah. Think about it, everything's USB now. So, but like when that theater opened too, that Magic Cinemas, they had, and this goes to show you how much times have changed. They had this great deal. I think it was like Tuesday nights were like buy one, get one free admission. My dad and I went and saw so many movies on Tuesday nights at that theater in its first few months that it was open. Um, and then like that was one of the things that I hated when Regal bought it out because they ended that right away. So it was like Regal was like, we don't play that game or something. But and again, what was also so cool about that theater when it opened is it had the stadium screen. That was the first stadium screen I'd ever seen, you
Yeah,
know.
I remember that.
So so yeah, 1996 was actually uh pretty decent year. Bill Clinton got reelected. I mean, your mileage may vary on that one as it turns out, but you know,
Yeah, I
at the
mean,
time I was happy that Bill Clinton got reelected. So
some other things, General Motors announced the first EV electric car.
and they're still struggling to build them.
Major League Baseball owners approved in 1996 the approved interleague play for the 97.
Yes, it started in 97. Yep.
Yep. Let's see. Dolly the sheep became the first mammal clone from an adult.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
ICQ, one of the first instant messaging platforms, was founded. I very vaguely remember that one.
Oh, you know what else happened in 1996 that hasn't happened since? The Cowboys won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Blizzards and extreme weather. A blizzard along the U.S. eastern seaboard killed 154 people and caused over 1 billion in damages. That's crazy just from a blizzard.
Yes, 96 was one of those big blizzard years up here in the Northeast. I'm pretty sure there were a couple years there in the 90s where we ended up having entire weeks off from school because of bad
Oh, I
blizzards,
remember
and I'm
that.
pretty sure 96 was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, okay. So in 96, I was in ninth grade. That was earth sciences at my high school at Penargil. And one of the subjects we learned about was meteorology. And our teacher, he had I think he had kind of convinced them to spend the money on this. He had this really cool for the time and everything meteorology program on like the computer that he had in his classroom and everything. And so when did we start learning about meteorology and everything? Oh, right when it was getting to be winter, when snow days were becoming a thing. So he would always like it was like even if like we weren't talking about meteorology that day, he'd turn up the computer and everything. It's like, so here's what we're looking at with this storm. And like, he would give his own like prediction as to whether we were going to be in school the next day or the next week or something like that. So
And that's pretty
that was,
cool.
that was, it was pretty cool because again, trust me, we all learn better knowing is being able to see that with like, with that kind of stuff, just from going out of a textbook. So
Something else too, Java was introduced in 96, January of 96.
JavaScript. Ooh.
Yep. Look at this. Oh, Dallas Cowboys win Super Bowl 30.
Yep.
Yep,
You,
last
you
time.
mentioned, you mentioned the Atlanta Olympics, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so cool having the Olympics in your own time zone. You know,
Yes. There was a
of
lot of
course,
like,
and of course, there was the very unfortunate Olympic Park bombing during the Olympics. And then the Richard Jewell saga. But
oh, here's something.
overall those were pretty good Olympics. Because the
Disney.
cool thing about the Olympics that year, if you remember, was Muhammad Ali lighting the torch at
Yes.
the opening ceremony. That because I don't think anybody knew that was going to happen. All of a sudden,
No.
there he was.
Yeah, that
It
was
was
that was
such
a
it was such a moment.
they had that as like a unplanned. They weren't letting anybody know who it was going to be until then.
Yeah,
Here's something. Disney launches first official website February 22nd, 1996.
cool.
Pokemon Red and Go, of course, in
Yep.
Japan. That starts the evolution of Pokemon. There's a lot of stuff in here too. Bad,
Oh,
some
since I
bad
was
stuff
talking,
too happened, but
well, of course, you like I said, the Olympic Park bombing, but
there was a mass
um,
shooting somewhere too. One of the
oh, was that the Jonesboro,
it
Arkansas
might,
shooting?
it
Did that
might have
happen
been,
in
yeah.
1996? Because I did like a report on that a couple years later. No, maybe that wasn't 96. Maybe that was a year later. I know that one was before Columbine, um, but anyway, I was gonna say, talking about like movies and everything again, there were five big action movies in that summer of 1996, and I remember the order in which they were released. It was Twister, Mission Impossible, Eraser, The Rock, and Independence Day. You had all five of those movies come out within about, I think, from from the beginning of May till like the beginning of July.
And
So
that Bulls NBA championship team was the 72-10 Chicago Bulls too.
yeah, the greatest NBA team ever. Suck at Warriors fans. No,
I mean,
I was just saying what Joe was thinking, folks, because yeah. That would be one of those like things I really would want to run through a simulator a lot. Though the 72 Bulls, the 72 win Bulls team against the 73 win Warriors team. That'd be fun.
yeah, yeah. Space Shuttle Endeavour missions, STS-77 launch. Wow, yeah, I mean, every year has something going on, but I
Yeah.
mean, that was a
But
50th
yeah, but
1990 awards.
1996 did feel like a pretty big year.
Yeah, there was a lot of Cal Ripken sets consecutive games record.
Right. That wait, that wasn't I thought he did that in 95.
Well, yeah, so this one is on June 14th, 96, Cal Ripken in Baltimore played his 2,216th consecutive game, surpassing the previous record by Japan's Soshio Kanuska. Ripken Street
Ah,
on May 30th, 1982. He continued to play every game until on September 20, 1998, ending the
right.
streak.
Yeah, I remember when the streak ended because it was against the Yankees and it was like so it
98.
was like it was like another significant event in that 98 Yankee season that like Ripken chose to end the streak. I don't know if he did it I don't think he did it because it was against the Yankees, but it was just the way it worked out.
Michael Johnson sets world record in the 200 meters.
Oh, yeah, God, he was so good at those 96 Olympics.
Yeah, he was. Spice Girls launch debut out single wannabe.
Oh boy. Well, when we said there were some bad things. Yes, I'm making fun of the Spice Girls. Deal with it.
Wayne
Because
Gretzky signs.
let's
Wayne
be honest.
Gretzky
Want to?
signed with the New York Rangers on July 21st, 1996.
I remember that. Yep. And even though he wasn't the
Tommy
great
Lasorda
ones,
retires from basketball. I mean, from baseball.
yeah. What was yeah? Because okay, so you know what was so significant about Tommy Lasorda calling it quits as the Dodgers manager? The Dodgers had only had two managers since 1954. It was Walter Alston for 20 some years, and then he retired and Lasorda took over. Then it was Lasorda for 20 years.
Hmm.
It was insane. It was like think about how many managers the Yankees had during those years, and the Dodgers only had two.
Yeah, Andre Agassi won the Olympic title, gold medal in the Olympic.
Yes, yes, I do remember that. That was pretty cool because like so many. I remember the '92 Olympics so well, and so many of the top U.S. men failed, like Jim Courier, and I don't remember if Sampras actually played in those Olympics or not.
Yeah.
So that was really cool then to see Agassi win it in '96. Yeah, I remember that.
NASA announces potential life evidence in Martian meteorite, August of 96.
I remember that too. Yeah,
Gorilla
yeah.
rescues boy at Brookfield Zoo. I remember that.
Okay, that's
Brookfield Zoo
cool.
in Illinois.
Go Gorilla.
Clinton
Go,
signs
go.
welfare reform bill.
That was a bad thing. Pretty sure that was a bad thing. Because if I recall, Um, that bill was one that had bought into a lot of like the old Reagan welfare queen bullshit.
Yeah, it says he said he signed the Personally Responsible and Work and Opportunity Reconciliation Act into law, overhauling the U.S. welfare system. That replaced the Aid of Families with Dependent Children program with temporary assistance for needy families program, imposing work requirements and time limits on assistance. And
Yeah.
then that was August 22nd, and then August 26th signs Welfare Reform Act, personal response working opportunity, making a significant change to welfare policy in the United States. The act aims to reduce dependency on government assistance and promote work among welfare recipients.
Right. And look, if somebody can work, I
The
mean,
Big 12's conference inaugural football conference game.
oh yeah, that wasn't the Big 12 work. But it's like if somebody can work again, I think they should have to work. But I think it's like putting work requirements in there makes it way too easy than to just deny people help that they need. Because I think there's so many people and people don't want to hear this if they're able-bodied and stuff, and I get it. But I don't think people want to hear that somebody's getting a handout because they physically can't work for some reason. It's like, just
Yeah, Baltimore Ravens NFL debut. Oh
yep.
God, yeah. Here's the other thing I remember happening too, because I called Marcus at college, woke him up early in the morning, not for this death, but for the second one. September 13th, 1996, the death of Tupac.
All right. Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
later, September 29th, Nintendo 64 launches in North America. Andrew Jones becomes the youngest to hit 2 World Series home runs.
Yep. He hit 2 home runs in game one, breaking the record of Mickey Mantle, I believe it was.
November 2nd, Kobe Bryant's NBA debut. Wow.
Wow. Ooh, yeah, that's
Bill Clinton
that's
wins second
that's good.
presidential term, November 4th.
Yep, against Bob Dole. Yep. I think Ross Perot ran again that year, but he didn't have nearly as much support as he did in
Oh,
1992.
I forgot about this. Michael Jackson's controversial marriage to Debbie Rowe, November 14th, 96.
Oh, he had already broken. He wasn't with Lisa Marie anymore. Okay.
Barry Sanders NFL record November 24th. NFL rushing of 2,053 yards in a single season. Belarus removes the last nuclear missiles. No Diggity tops the Billboard charts. Wow.
Well, I like the way they worked it.
Yeah, December 6th, 96, General Motors launches groundbreaking EV1 electric vehicle. First Big 12 championship game. Roger Clemens on December 13th signs with the Toronto Blue Jays.
Yes, because the Red Sox thought he was washed up, and then he proceeded to have 2 incredible seasons there with Toronto, and then there was the trade to the Yankees, and of course, why did he bounce back? Well, because he was that good, not steroids.
Is what it is. Apple acquires and Next Software. That was a big thing, actually.
Yeah, it was because didn't that bring Steve Jobs back into Apple? Pretty
Yep,
sure that was
Apple announced.
the
Yeah,
company he was
announced
trying to run at that time, and yeah,
Apple announced its acquisition of Next Software, a company founded by Steve Jobs. The acquisition was pivotal in revitalizing Apple and lead to the development of the Mac OS.
yeah, which of course then would eventually lead to like the iPod, pretty much.
Yep.
Look, I still got it.
That's crazy. You still
And
got it and it still works, bro.
dude, if this thing dies on me, do you know how fucked I am?
You better have a backup.
I don't. I gotta, and the problem is I really can't be spending money to buy it back. It's gonna have to be one of those things that like I won't be able to deal with it until it happens, at least in the for the immediate future. So,
But yeah,
well,
96.
the other thing is probably like this one I got special because I got like the little engraving on it. You probably can't see it, but like I got it engraved with a quote from a George Harrison line on the back where "Find me where ye echo lays." It's from a George Harrison song from his first solo album. So I wouldn't be able to get that done again, of course. But that's also goes to show you how old that is too, because God, I mean, this thing might be 10 years old. I don't know. I don't know. But that's what just shows that they're built to last, you know?
Yeah, probably older than 10 years, but yeah,
Yeah, I just don't remember at this point. Yeah.
those iPods were definitely you're not the only one that I know that still has an iPod that works. So
Well, here's the thing, because I like Android too much to switch to an iPhone, but I also have so much data on this, mostly again, it is music and everything. And it's like I just don't want to because this is a 256 meg, I think. And or not meg. Whoa, yeah, it's a 256 meg iPod. There's a whole 6 songs on it. Uh,
gig.
yeah, it's a 256 gig. Here, hold on, let me pull it up real quick because I'm back in front of my desktop too. So I got my laptop and my desktop here right now. It's wonderful. It's great. So it tells me I am currently using can't see the number. Okay, well, the capacity is actually only 238.41 because, all that fun stuff where, like, the stuff that you don't actually get access to, and, you know how I mean. Um, I'm using all but 77 gigs right now. So 238 minus 77. So I'm using 160 gigs.
Yeah.
I have 127 gigs of audio on, and I still buy music, so it's always expanding. Why is my face brighter now than it was before?
Probably because you have your desktop on.
That is exactly why. Oh my God, I'm such a fucking idiot sometimes.
It's the forgetfulness when you get older. Don't worry, it
Well,
happens on a daily
no,
basis.
I seriously was trying to say why my face doesn't look this dark when I'm doing the podcast on the desktop. What's going on? Yeah, it's because the
Mm,
desktop was sleeping.
yes, yes. All right.
Yeah, okay, maybe not we, but I get dumber as I get older.
I just forget some things as I get older. But with that being said, we're gonna end the live show very soon in a couple minutes. But I did want to bring up, since I did say this earlier, I was gonna bring this up when Pat was on, that this fall, this winter fall, we are going to shift our pro wrestling talk to a different part of our podcast umbrella, because within our umbrella, we are going to focus this specific podcast on the video games, on the movies, on sports, on daily life shenanigans, things of that nature. And we will also still go live on this show when it comes to, WWE premium live events for the most part. But we will be having another sideshow, which I will talk to Pat and Jeremy about, and Shane and some others, that when it comes to professional wrestling, we're going to have a little sideshow called Under the Ropes, where we can discuss pro wrestling the whole time.
This is literally the first I'm hearing of this, folks.
Correct. It is.
But I
um,
will say this, because of the way that the terminology Joe used, this is just because Joe just wants a little side action.
it happens. The logo has been created. the YouTube channel has been created as well. Um, there is actually two videos that me and Pat did earlier because me and Pat need to get back on the watching WrestleMania that we do have posted on the Middle Aged Guys Show YouTube channel. But I did post these two videos, two out of the three. No, I think I did all three. All three first WrestleManias that me and Pat did that are posted on our main channel have also been posted on the Under the Ropes channel as well. And they've gotten views on there.
And look, you can't blame us for wanting to avoid watching WrestleMania 4.
I mean, we'll get to that point. We're gonna.
I mean, we will, but I'm just saying WrestleMania 4, not exactly one of the more fonder thought of WrestleManias, and I doubt most people can name anything that happened on the show other than Macho Man winning the title. So
Yes, very true. Yes, but this is something we're going to dive in to kind of separate the shenanigans of pro wrestling talk with everything else. Um, and like I had mentioned earlier, Pat, I was talking to the fans while you were away, about some of the topics that we've done in the past, like um, the rap um, one that's been a very popular, still continue to get downloads 5 years later. You know what I mean? Still our most downloaded show on Podbeans and most watched, viewed show on YouTube, still as well. But yes, um, I know we've been all over the place and sometimes we're not as organized as we should be. But yeah, there are some topics that I've come up with as far as wrestling's concerned, and topics I'm going to put on our little Google spreadsheet as far as that's concerned, about Rushmores and Mount Rushmores and decade rankings and things of that nature, which I think we can kind of funnel over into sports and music and stuff like that, movies. But yeah, just kind of try to separate wrestling because sometimes wrestling gets a bit long-winded. So I kind of feel like just because of the state of wrestling, we might want to separate that a little bit. Like I said, except for maybe the, you know, uh, live PLDs. I'm not sure. I think we should still do that on the main channel. I'll just post those on the secondary channel and stuff like that. But we'll see how that goes. But yeah.
we
But
will
just one,
secondary them on the post.
yes. Um, because I cannot go live. Well, there's a whole nother system I can go live on to post on different things, but might have to use my other true gaming PC to do that stuff, which I just got a video camera for that one. So me and Nico can start our video game streaming careers. Just saying that. But with that being said, yeah, so we're going to do a couple different things with the podcast. I found
Yep.
a new program to give me better clips for shorts. So I'm gonna start testing that out in the next couple weeks, and then hopefully that's a better platform. We're gonna run with that one and get ourselves out there a little bit more.
There's just one thing that you have to remember above all other things.
Mhm.
Don't cross the streams.
Oh, yeah, I know it's bad.
Don't cross the streams.
I don't want the ghosts coming out too much, too many of them. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, we got
But
we got enough problems. I don't think we need to deal with renegade ghosts right now.
no, 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 we definitely don't. But with that being said, we're gonna end the show today. It's almost 1:30. It's 1:25. We've been on for a little bit over two. Well, my timer says 3 hours, but we've been, you know,
Yeah, I was
podcasting
gonna
for
say I
about,
don't remember exactly when we started. So yeah.
we've been podcasting for at least 2 hours ish or more. So probably I would say 2 hours and 40 minutes we've been podcasting, to be honest, which is good. So
Hey
good.
man, we give you the goods. We don't leave you feeling unsatisfied and unfulfilled.
Nope, nope, not at all. Um,
I mean, huh? What?
well, I don't know.
What did I say? Surely not something that was a multiple entendre, did I?
No, not at all.
Okay, good.
Um, but
I
with
had
that
to
being
think I
said,
did that.
we're going to end the show today. And like our cohort Jeremy would like always say, I'll use this phrase to end all the time because it's, it's what we do. It works. And once again, thank you for the downloads, the new subscribers, the new likes, the videos and all that stuff. So really appreciate that 100%.
Very much so. Thank you.
Yes. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. Going live.